All right, what's up, guys? So this call was sent to me through K-Huck, and yeah, it's a call with I believe it's Cope and Seath, cause yeah, this is Beckett, and I think they are behind the Cope and Seath channel. I'm trying to like remember this stuff, make sure I get everything correct. I think they're behind. Like I'm just now discovering a lot of these channels and stuff, so but yeah, I think we could all say we're familiar with just the robots, his just his whole thing and stuff. But anyways, here's the thing. I was gonna work on a video where I was giving advice to just a robot, but I don't know. Like I recorded it, but I decided not to go through with uploading it because I have to remind myself this is a 30-some-year-old man that we're talking about here. So that's I'm like, he if he wanted to change, he would have changed a long time ago. I'm not believing the whole like, oh, now that I've been canceled and nobody don't want to be bothered with me, now all of a sudden want to change. I don't believe that. So anyways, now let's go ahead and get to this video. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Mold, etc. for more videos like this. I think I have the green light to react to this. I mean, if I don't, then yeah, I would have no problem with taking this video down. But anyways, I might have to fast forward the call.
Hey.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Hello. Can you?
I was about to say, I was like, for a second, I couldn't hear that. And I'm like, bro, what's going on? I was like, I was just sitting here watching, doing videos. And I'm like, I have no audio issues. I was about to start flipping down. I'm like, bro, what's going on?
Hear me?
I can. You're coming through clearly for me.
And I can tell by your accent you're probably from the UK.
I am indeed.
Well, that must mean you're smart.
No, it just means I have a misleading accent. So I mean, you I know you're aware of Copenhagen.
I mean, that's not an insult, but I mean, hey, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, like he just has a way of like bringing up stuff, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Maybe he was trying to compliment him. That was like the best thing that could come out. But anyways,
as a channel,
I've come across it.
Well, do you know? Go on.
Oh, didn't you interview Akumu and Lio?
I've spoken to Lyra a few times, and I interviewed Akumu. I was pretty involved in the whole FCK stuff with Peaches. And I did a lot of, I guess. So Copenhagen is essentially a shipposting and research channel. So we do quite.
I
like to think thorough work to try and make sure that we get accurate facts on a story, basically.
I thought I did the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to check yourself. I mean, first off, I mean, it sounds like you've had quite a few days, right?
Quite a few days for what?
Of of dealing with all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
first day was really
bad. This
bad.
was like right after the Cinnabear stuff. Dang. Yeah, I think during that time frame, because that's what I mean, he was like really going through it and stuff. Like, I mean, he still does to this day, but still, it's like back then though, it was bad. It was horrible.
Second day it got better. Third day it got worse. Fourth day it got better, and I think today is the fifth day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Yep, today is the fifth day since I uploaded it.
So, I mean, I want to talk to you about Cinebear, but I also want to talk to you about you. So my history on the internet's quite long. I've been around, long before the skeptics were around. So, I was interested to have a look into you, and I've interviewed a few other people who've known you. And I've got some stuff about your history as well as Cinebear stuff, because I want to get a solid picture of you, Jar, because there doesn't seem to be one.
So if I could paint a picture real quick, he's a very toxic individual where he wants people to accept whatever toxicness that he puts out there and stuff. And if you don't accept it, then it's a problem. And I'm like, bro, not everybody has to think along the lines like you. And I know he'll say some stuff like, I've never said that, but that's the character that you portray. It's either you accept who I am or we gonna have a problem. You can't go on it like that. You just, with you and your content creating career or whatever it is that you put yourself involved with other people where there's gonna be more than just you that's involved in the conversation. You can't think that people are going to think along the lines like you, or they got to be like you or act like you, whatever the situation is. It's like, no, that person's going to be them. You are going to be you. If there can't be no fine line of acceptance between that, then yeah, it's like it's something where I guess, like, how do you expect people to accept you for who you are if you can't accept people for who they are? So yeah, it's one of those things. I'm like, he definitely needs to, I guess, put himself out there in the public to where it's like you could get a better understanding of people. You ain't coming across a bunch of robots, you're coming across people.
Uh, I'm a little confused by that, but sure.
So the thing is, the stuff that's happened with Cinebear and talking to other people, I think there's elements of this that should we like speak to a wider pattern of behavior, and I want to be like really clear with who I'm talking about, because I don't think it's fair to you for me to just run off what your detractors say or this particular drama. I think that can lead to some quite inaccurate.
So at this moment, just the robot was waiting for his roommate to go. He's like, no, this ain't one of those calls. He's like, this guy, he's a neutral minded person. You don't have to jump in this call. He's like, no, go on. He's like, please. He's like, no, this is a good person. This isn't somebody that's coming after me and stuff. So he's like, he gave his roommate the green light to leave.
Representation. I think that would be unfair to you.
Well, I heard you were very charitable with people, so that's why I accepted to have this call.
Yeah, I try to be. I want to I don't want to. Just for me, it's not about just running with content. Just to get a hit in. But at the same time, I do want to make sure that I'm thorough. So I want to talk to you a bit about your past, because I think it relates to how the Cinebear stuff has unfolded for you. And I think having that picture helps me put things together. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How far do you want to go back?
Well, I mean, I'm familiar with. So as far as I'm aware, you started sort of out on DeviantArt as a creator there. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you moved over. I've got a bit of a timeline slip here. It seems like you moved over to Lio and kind of the ACC content about 6-7 years ago.
I would say that's about accurate. It depends on who you ask. Some people will tell you it's 4 years ago. Others will tell you it was 6 years ago.
And before that, you were an anti-SJW creator.
Yep.
So you worked with. I know you worked with people like Tree of Logic, for example.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get to kind of the move over to the ACC first, in a minute. I want to just talk about sort of the anti-SJW stuff, because I've gone through some of the history of accusations against you as well, some of which are completely insane and have, as far as I can tell, absolutely no reality to them.
Like when I groomed a 13-year-old girl
who didn't exist. Yeah,
he didn't even exist, and who I had no message history with or anything of the sort.
Yeah, was that?
I think I remember when that had happened. What was it like? It was it was like not fake, but well, no, yeah, it was like fake screenshots of I guess him messaging somebody. But that's the thing though, where it's like when you look at your track record, where it's like your editor got caught up talking to a minor, you defended somebody for talking inappropriately to a minor, and then it's like you got rumors around you. Then just with some of the content that you've uploaded in the past, it's like, bruh, you can't be surprised if people think along those lines, like about you and stuff. So yeah, it's something where I'm like, that situation might have been fake, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me if it was sometime down the road where he got called out for doing the same thing. He's the same people, or the same thing that people around him have been doing and stuff. So yeah, and I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, if you try to change this, like, it should have happened a long time ago. But I just think that the change, it's not gonna happen. If I've been proven wrong, then cool. But if not, then yeah, it's one of those things. I'm like, what I tell y'all. So anyways,
was that connected to Heatherpack?
Yes and no. So Chaos 55T was around back then during the Heatherpack days, and I did interact with them, but she wasn't like close with them. She was just kind of like there, but she wasn't like a part of the Heatherpack group. But she was one of the people who did go after me, and she lied, saying I pushed one of her friends to commit suicide, a friend I didn't even know the existence of. And after that, when I brought that up years and years later, she decided to continue lying, saying I did that. And then after that, like about a year later, she decided to Photoshop me grooming a 13-year-old girl, and did a very poor job at the photoshopping.
That's that's pretty insane. I mean, it sounds like you have been through the ringer with these, with certain groups and certain A-loggers.
Dang, I didn't know about all that. I'm like, that's crazy.
Over the years.
Well, I'm autistic. I'm going to be a target.
Sure, that's that's the unfortunate nature of the internet to some extent. Well, I want to talk about the anti-SJW.
Hold on for a second. I gotta go do something real quick. All right, I'm back. Just had to do something real quick. Anyways, back to the video
stuff, because I think one of the claims I've heard against you. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not woke Scoldy. I don't give a shit. But I think one of the accusations very early on I heard you respond to was an accusation of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been through your old content, to be clear, and I guess I don't want to talk about an accusation of racism because I've heard you say the N word. I've seen the race swap video. It's more the fact that I'm interested as to why this bothers you so much, because I think those of us who've been around a while all have sort of our edgier elements.
You actually talked about that in the video you did with Akumu. You did, remember? I remember.
Yeah. I think I've
he
mentioned...
remembers that, but when somebody asks him to remember some, he's like, "No, I don't remember that." He's like, "I don't recall," but if it did happen, it did happen. It's like, man,
some things along those lines. And it's interesting watching your reaction to that.
I know. The reason why I think I had such a visceral reaction before the Cindy Bear stuff, that was the closest I have ever come to being canceled. Prismate Luke talked about it, Thuman, Kai, and a bunch of other people were going to talk about it, but I apologized very early on. And
if my thing is this, if he would have apologized, a lot of people, including myself, would have received an apology. I know I ain't never received no apology for his racism, and I ain't never seen nobody mention him talk about no apology for no racism. So yeah, he's lying on that one. If it was like a proper apology, like, hey, to anybody and everybody out there that I've offended with my videos, I apologize, and he left it at that, then that's when I believe that's an apology. But my thing is this: look at how you responded with that Cinnabare stuff. I'm supposed to believe you that you properly apologize? No, if he apologized in a way that made him feel comfortable, but he didn't apologize in a way where it made others feel comfortable. So
then it kind of went away, but people kept on bringing it up, and it's kind of become a meme. In a way, it's like I even brought up in my Cindy Bear video, like, come on, you don't even think I'm racist? Boo! Like, it's kind of become a meme. I've kind of accepted it, but when it first happened, my biggest connection with another YouTuber was Kuro the artist, and Prismate Luke painted me incredibly uncharitably. Like, he claimed that my roommate's avatar, he wasn't my roommate at the time, but now he is, but my roommate's avatar, Professor Dreadlock, was a quote-unquote blackface version of me, even though the only thing they have in common is it's in the same art style.
Okay. I mean, I don't think I've seen that image. I've only seen the one where you've got sort of your robot character properly sort of race swapped in your video where you're talking about, I believe, Sean King and some of the stuff that's happening around black identitarian politics.
Yes, that's another. I don't personally think that was blackface, but what happened there is the artist who did my original avatar drew that picture of me because that's how she assumed I looked in real life. And if you see any leaked pictures of me, I don't look a thing like that.
I am aware of the leaked pictures. I do. I will say I know that your sort of face isn't out there. So if any like image of you is used, it will be blurred. So I'm not sort of face revealing you. But I know those images are sort of pretty widely shared around. I think I've seen them on Twitter as well. At this,
I just hate that everybody uses the lowest res image of me. I'm like, there's literally every image of me that I leaked. It was higher quality than that one, but everybody loves to use the one where I'm in low resolution for some reason.
I think it's the Superman shirt, mate. I'm going to be honest with you. Then it has a lot to do with it.
I think it's embarrassing to admit that I'm wearing a Superman shirt right now.
Well, fair enough. But okay, I think that sort of clears up that question. No, actually, no, sorry, I had one other thing. The song you use at the end of your videos, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, that you had for the way those videos ended. I heard through one of the people I spoke to, in fact several of the people I spoke to, that it bears a striking similarity to American History X. And I sort of just wanted to ask whether that in any way was an inspiration, because the wording has similarities to that particular song in ways that it doesn't have to the original hymn.
Oh, no, that's perfectly understandable, and that is accurate. I heard the song growing up, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Then I watched a movie, American History X, while I was actually creating my channel, and I thought, when I heard that racist rendition of it, I thought, oh, I'm going to make my own rendition of this song. Like, it's a rendition of a rendition, and...
You know, like, so the thing is this. I've seen a lot of different movies out there where they talk on things where I'm like, I know that it would be best in my like best interest for me to not mimic, do, repeat, none of that stuff. Because yeah, there's been movies that have talked on other races. There's been movies where it's done made like homophobic comments and stuff. Like I'm saying, like I grew up watching a lot of different movies. I grew up listening to a lot of different music where I'm like, I know that stuff would not work today. But my thing is this. I'm not going to be like, okay, so let me think of something. I'm trying to think where I don't even know. Like I can't think of the movies at the moment right now. But let's just say that there is a movie that was like it was like a black version of American History X. You know, where there is like it was yeah, the main character is black, but he's just being racist to all these things. I never sat down and watched that movie, so I don't know what the exact story is. But yeah, let's just say that there was a movie out there that was like that, where it's about a black man just being mad racist to a bunch of different people. I'm not going to reference or sample or figure out how could I add that movie to my channel in some sort of way. My thing is this, yeah, I don't think American History X, like I think, yeah, the characters and that stuff is of course offensive and things, but as far as like the movie, it's more so telling a story and stuff. But I guess like, you know, at the same time, it's like when you sit down and try to like piece together what just a robot did, it's like, okay, well, with all the other stuff that you've been called out for, that's why people are calling you a racist. That's why, so it's like you can't be upset or offended when it's like you're the one that's putting yourself in that conversation. So it's like he's walking himself into this conversation that he's trying to figure out, how did I get here? Like who put me here? I'm like, bro, you walked yourself into that conversation. So, but yeah, it's like, how do you think that would people would feel? Well, no, let's just use Minnesota Boy for an example. Look at his situation. I'm like, I guarantee, I promise you, then like just and then yeah, because he tried to play it off too, like, oh, I'm not racist. I was just doing that because I was just trolling you guys. And it's like, no, bro, you meant that. You meant what you said. You knew what you were doing. Ain't nobody hearing that trolling stuff. So anyways,
and one of my friends, who's not my friend anymore, helped me come up with the lyrics. And yeah, that's where the song came from. By the way, highly recommend the movie American History X. My one problem is when the white nationalist guy is shooting, that gun had way too much ammo for a pistol.
That's, I think,
none of the racism that's probably been. I need to sit down and watch that movie myself. I feel like I wonder. I'm gonna look it up at some point. But yeah, it's like I need to sit down and watch that movie myself. But it's like that's one thing. It's I remember calling him out on that too, and I can't remember what video it was, but I remember calling him out where it's like you pay attention to stuff in the movie that nobody else ain't paying attention to. Where it's like, oh, it's like my thing is this. It could be some like alien invasion movie where it's like, okay, yeah, it's like you could talk on like the origins of the aliens, you could talk on how the people are acting. Robot, he over here talking about the color of the grass, like he's like, nah, he's like, it's like a lime green, like that doesn't. And it's like, bro, you're missing the point of the movie. Like nobody's not paying attention to no grass. Like, come on now.
I think that's a fair critique. Yeah, no, it's a classic. I do agree with you. Okay, so I think I'm fairly happy there. I think that gives sort of a kind of a look in at your time in the anti-SJW community.
I don't have that
and then you
movie available on no platforms. I was getting ready to say I'll probably end up watching it at some point in time today just to see and stuff. But anyway,
over to the ACC, and sort of got involved with people like Lio. Just for my own timeline as well. Was that around the time you started to get involved with your sort of long-term beef with TMossBoss? Or was that an earlier? Okay.
The beef with TMossBoss, which I'm now going to have to scrap my video on him because I promised that if I do come back to YouTube, which I do, I'm not going to do any more drama videos. But yeah, TMossBoss happened during the anti-SJW days because I would do anti-SJW / anti-reaction channel videos. So you would see, like, I would do an anti-SJW video and then an anti-reaction video and, you know, kind of flip-flop between the two. And eventually Doodle Tones showed up and the Pokemon drama happened.
I mean, you seem to have had a lot of knowledge of like Metica from back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, was it not odd to end up in a friendship with somebody like Doodletones?
Oh no, it was odd, but I wanted to squash the beef between me and her, and also she's a pretty good editor, and I felt like she got way too much backlash from my fan base, and I also thought she was a pretty tough cookie because, well, she got a direct hit from both me and Mr. Medicare simultaneously and didn't give up. So I thought, oh, this is a pretty cool person right here.
So, I mean, when you released your video on Doodletones, which was, pretty critical, it seems like you were on fairly good terms with them, but you still took quite a direct shot at them.
Yes.
Now, that seems to be a bit of a pattern of.
So I wonder if this Doodletones person, did they get the same conversation that I got when he was trying to quote unquote help me out and stuff? Like, was it that, like, oh, let me offer you something in return, you got to do stuff for me? Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, it was a bad deal, but I'm like, I don't know what this situation is on them, if they still a content creator or not, because I can't remember if it was them or if it was another content creator that gets mentioned alongside with Just the Robot where they just quit. So I probably at some point in time look it up after this video if I remember to. But anyways,
behavior.
actually, I'll just look it up now because I'll probably end up.
I've noticed that it's really interesting in Peach's video that you say, the way the ACC works is very backstabby. You said the same thing to Cinebear. And you said in your Peaches video, I believe it's on the line, I'm probably paraphrasing here, but everyone in the ACC, no matter how much you support them, shout them out, they all just see you as a target to make a video on.
So it might be
which is interesting because it seems like every time you've been on, fair terms with somebody, whether it's Doodletones, Spoctor, Peaches, the potential for the upcoming video on Lyo,
I scrapped that one.
But the pattern still holds, if you see what I mean. You've got good relationships with these people, but then you seem to pull very quickly in the other direction, normally at the end of a drama.
Yes. So, mind if I explain that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
With the Spoctor one, I and many others reached out, told him, like, hey, you're making mistakes. Please fix these mistakes. And he was just not doing it. And I was just like, and when I heard the call with him and Lyo, I decided I should call him out since no one with a sizable platform back then was calling him out. So I decided to do that. And me and Spoctor, we weren't really that close. We spoke in feces very rarely. It was like once every 2 years, maybe. I felt bad for what happened to him when he got falsely accused, but then I thought maybe it should be the right thing for me to call him out. So with the whole Spoctor thing of me going against him, just because he was innocent back in 2018 doesn't mean he was innocent in 2022 or 2023 or whenever I uploaded that video. And even then, I think I was more charitable towards him than some other people were. As for Doodletones, I tried multiple times to get people to leave her alone. I was in a video with her saying, hey guys, just like, she had enough. Just please leave her alone, and a few other things. But eventually, now this was a very petty reason on my part, which is why I actually removed my Doodletones video. Lyo explained it to me, but basically someone made a video on me and Doodletones voiced lines in that video, and it kind of upset me because I was like, oh my god, like, I do all this stuff for you and then you add your credibility to this video on me, and I felt slighted. And once they left YouTube, I decided to talk about them because I was like, well, if they're gone, I might as well do this video. But at the end, I do give them advice on how to move forward in the future with reinventing themselves, similar to how Crowd and T reinvented himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because you seem to hold grudges in a way that is quite extreme. Somebody will slight you and then you will come for them years later over something that is
I know, and I'm ashamed of it, and I've been self-reflecting about that. It's something very unhealthy, and revenge doesn't even feel good. With my Lyo video, I did feel bad about making it, but I felt like I had to make it because people were like, oh, weren't you buddy with Lyo? And I realized only recently that I've never been really a loyal friend to him, and I feel horrible about that now because when I had that call with him, he really looked into my soul and explained to me that like how I acted, and it really hit me hard that he did all these nice things for me and I cared more about this. Like,
I mean, this is a criticism that came at Queen Seraphina, and like I know Sarah like fairly well at this point. You know, she's sort of just like, I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to get involved, but I'm not defending Lio, and I'm not going to talk about it, and has distanced herself because of what's happened. I think part of the argument is, you know, you're coming in now at the end, and you say that people are applying pressure, but this is very much when the battle's kind of been won. So you can see how that looks. It doesn't look like, well, I felt pressured. It looks like, well, now I can come in, sort of, I've got the numbers behind me on the channel where it can look like, well, this is something that I was always saying. And again, it's almost this rewriting of history, or sort of jumping late on the bandwagon, or again, quite similarly to Cinebear, or Doodle, or Peaches, where once it's done, then you pick a side.
Well, with Peaches, like, she was getting bashed, and I helped her out when she was like on the losing side. I helped her get back up there, and then I felt like I had to make this video because I made like multiple videos defending her, and I didn't want people to think I was still him now. I didn't want people to think I'll just call them them. I didn't want people to think I was defending them anymore. As for Lio, like at the start of my script, I even say like I've had nothing but good experiences with the guy.
I mean, what was your motivator for making the Lio video? Because I can, you know, like what external force kind of was propelling you in that direction?
I started to think that Lio wasn't really a good guy after all, that I had to make this video to show people that I was no longer on his side, and I kept on going back and forth with the script. I actually scripted this. I don't always use a script because of my dyslexia, but I kept on going back and forth with it. If I should do this, if I should not, was teeter-tottering on it a lot because Lio has never backstabbed me. Lio has never upset me, and I was like, is this the right thing to do? And I sometimes don't know where my biases lie, because on the one hand, I thought maybe it's good to call him out to show people that I can be objective, but on the other hand, I was like, but he was there for me. He was my friend.
Do you feel like you've backstabbed people?
Do I feel like I've backstabbed people? Mind if I think about that for a second?
Yeah, take time. I want you to make sure you're clear on your answers. That's fine to pause.
You gotta think about that. It takes you that long to just think whether, I mean, that's something where I'm like, I feel like for the most part, I remember a lot of key moments in my career. I think I would have remembered something like that, so I just think that, yeah, it's like, if you can't answer the question right away, then it's like, yes, you have. So you can play that game like, oh, I can't remember, or I can't recall, but yes, you have.
I'm going through the list of everybody I've like collabed or interacted with on YouTube.
Sure.
You gotta have, okay. I ain't never seen that before.
None that come to mind.
I mean, would you say that the stuff with,
yeah,
would you say the stuff with Doodles was a backstab?
Hard to say, because on the one hand, I kind of feel like I was backstabbed first because I was the main person trying to like mend our relationship. Like, hey, listen, I know you came at me first and you got a lot of backlash for it, but I don't think you're a bad person, and like, I'll try to get my fans off your back. I'll hire you to do some editing, and then, oh, I'm going to be in a negative video about Jar and put my credibility on it. And before that, and I approached Jewel Tones about that, I talked to her, and I was very vulnerable in that call, and then she leaked that call, and then that's when I felt, that was the moment when I felt backstabbed, because I didn't know I was being recorded, and I didn't know she would send it to people, and
why do they have to do editing for you in order, I guess, for the... Because that's how I'm looking at it. It's like, so, I guess, be on my good side, and then that's when my fans would stop, like, I guess, hating on you and stuff. Because, no, the reason why I bring that up, because his fans have left comments like that. Indeed, no, that's one thing I do remember. It was like, this was years ago, but this was like during that time frame of when I was really getting a lot of hate from Just the Robots fan base. And I remember one of his fans saying something along those lines, talking about like, accept the advice or whatever, and we'll get off of your back. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm not gonna do that. It's one of those things where it's like, I look at it as like, I'm pretty much selling out. And I'm like, that's not what I came here for. I came here to entertain people. I ain't come here to be buddy with people that can care less about us being buddies and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, Yeah, I just think that that's silly. I think that's like, yeah, he overall backstabbed this Tones person. It's like you could say that, oh, they did it first, but it's like, fam, my thing is this. Okay, so what would have happened with Tones if you, I guess, if they declined their your offer? And it's one of those things. It's like he be trying to do that with people, be trying to make out offers or hand out offers and stuff. And it's like, bruh, people don't want to work with you like that. You know, yeah, you might have a fan here and there that wants to work with you, but outside of that, it's like, no, bruh, people don't want to work with you like that. They probably did that so they could just overall get away with you and get away from you and stuff. But anyways,
I think that might have just been a lapse in judgment on your end, but I think one thing that I do have an issue with is that are you okay?
Sorry, just sneezing. Go on.
Sometimes I wonder if I was backstabbed or if I'm the one doing the stabbing. Sometimes it's very obvious, like with Junkie, it's blatant that he backstabbed me among a comment. It's pretty blatant. And but this whole thing of who backstabbed who and everything, this is why I decided after this Cine situation I want to be done with drama because I am just exhausted at this point.
I mean, you do have an entire second channel, which does seem to be sort of vengeance responses to people.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, going back to 2013.
Back to 2013.
Yeah, I mean that's
I thought you were talking about the recent stuff. Yeah, this is one issue I do have. I just have a very strong desire to get back at people, and the worst part is once you do, it doesn't feel that great. It feels a little good, but it doesn't feel nearly as great as you would think it does. And I was trying to respond to every single video ever made on me on my second channel at one point, but then I got bored. And now I realize like how silly and stupid that made me look because I could have been making videos that people actually gave a shit about and got a lot more views. And granted, response videos are a lot easier to make.
I just find it funny how he's saying all this stuff now, and it's like if this was something that has always been in you, you would have never made that Cinebear video. You wouldn't have made half the videos you made. Yeah, there's some videos that he most likely, like I guess just from that time frame of him being a content creator, yeah, we probably would have seen those videos. But I feel like a lot of the situations that he put himself in, he put himself involved in these situations, and now he's trying to clean up the mess afterwards. And it's like, nah, bruh, this is a big giant mess. You can't just clean it up and go on about your business. No, people are going to question you about this stuff. So,
like, you know what you're saying, you know what they're saying. You don't even need a script. You just hit the record button and use some gameplay. Very easy stuff to make. But now, with the amount of people I've pissed off, I realized that I kind of dug my own grave by acting the way I did. I kept on pissing people off one after another, and eventually I knew eventually it would come back to bite me in the ass, and it did.
I mean, yeah. So the people I've spoken to who've had sort of issues with you in the past, one of the constant things I hear is they don't want to respond. They don't want to deal with kind of how vengeful you are. And there's this fear, especially for smaller channels or people with lesser platforms, that in fact I heard TMossBoss say this in his most recent video, and I've heard this from kind of multiple even bigger channels, where there's this real worry that it's not just you that will come after them. You end up in a position of weaponizing an audience to come after them potentially.
That's facts.
I suppose you're right. I mean, that's the risk of having a platform, and
it's like they ain't no risk of having a platform. It's about the content creator that's misusing the platform. My thing is this: you throughout just to overall talk on my content creating career real quick, right? I've seen all these different accounts because there's people that I could have very well gotten into beefs with. That was all like, no, not worth my time now, or especially now where I'm like, I don't care for drama, I don't care for arguing, I don't care for none of that. Yeah, there might be at times where I'm like, I'll talk on some stuff and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was just silly. But my thing is this: I have a choice. Like, I feel like that when you open up your editing software or programs, whatever it is that you do to record videos, like I open up OBS, my thing is this: I have a choice on what videos I'm going to react to. I guess I'm making a bad choice now. But overall, though, it's like outside of that, like from that 5-year period where I guess like before the like all the Cinebear stuff and things, from that time frame, I was taking the time to focus on myself. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, just overall, when you take that time to focus on yourself, you worry less and less about drama. You worry less and less about arguing. all that stuff. You are focused on yourself. There's all this different content that you very well can make, where it's like you could have been making content on video games, music. You could be making content on books. You could be making content on sports. There's all this different content that you can make content, or just make videos or whatever it is that you want to make videos on and stuff. But you chose to put yourself in a situation where now you are going to have to fight some battles. Now you are going to have to argue with people. Now you're going to have to, and then it's like, then you're surprised or you're upset when they don't see things the way that you're seeing it. Yeah, that's something where I'm like, nah, bro, you could play that whole game where it's like, oh, well, it's like, I ain't want it to go like in this route, or I ain't want my fans to do this. But I'm like, but you made videos that caused your fans to go out and attack random people. I'm saying, like, the amount of harassment, the hate, the stalking, all this stuff that's came from his fan base that didn't happen to me, bro, it's stuff where I'm like, you had every time and opportunity to end that stuff. You didn't. So now it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, people are going to pretty much be dancing on your content creating grave. Because it's like, you wronged way too many people throughout your career. And now you're all like, oh, well, I tried to clean it up. No, you didn't. If you did, you would have cleaned it up a long time ago.
Honestly, I don't like that because I've done what I can to keep my fans off of Doodletone's back for a very, very long time. I been saying in my more recent drama videos on the old channel, please.
And the funny thing is that, so I just remember this was before this Cinnamon stuff, but last year, if you guys were subscribed to me last year, you seen that I had a big success going, or just it was like a boost of success going on with my voiceover content. So yeah, I started posting voiceover content, and the funny thing is, didn't mention just a robot. Wasn't doing no videos on him. I think if I had to have done anything just the robot related, it was just pretty much telling people the story when they would ask me why they're like hate comments or why are these videos being made about you. So that was the only time when I would talk about him, is if I was doing like a story time explaining people the situation. The next video I did where I called him out on something was a month before the Cinnamon stuff. But from that time frame last year where I hadn't, like, from that video where I had called him out for being a pedophile after he uploaded that weird EDP video, but from that, before that video, and then all the way up to the beginning of the year, had made no videos about him, was focused on myself, was focused on doing voiceover content. How does he respond to it? He makes a video talking about where is TMossBoss right now, knowing what his fan base is capable of. So if he was really trying to stop stuff, if he really didn't like that, he wouldn't have been making no videos on it. But now that he's going through all this drama, now he's trying to like, oh, well, maybe if I say these things, then people might have like a different outlook on me. Bro, I'm not. At least for me, I know I'm not hearing that. So maybe other people might be listening to you and hearing you out. I'm not hearing you out.
Do not attack this person. And like I've been, and
the funny thing is, I remember telling him that I'm like, tell your friends, your fans to back off, and he talking about I don't have control over my fan base. So that's why I'm like, yeah, bruh. The thing is you might have forgot what happened throughout that time frame of me and your beef. I haven't forgot though. So yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not hearing that. So
that's true, but I mean, from what I can hear from behind the scenes, that may be what you say publicly, but it seems like privately you have at least alluded to that threat while having dramas with people.
Yeah.
Well, I have said, like, listen, like, I think a good example is the Vincent Skullman stuff. Like, he made a video on me, and I wanted to talk things out with him instead of making a video because he was a very sensitive guy, and I was like, my fans are.
So I notice how he's avoiding the topic with me though. Like if somebody, it's there probably is an interview or something out there where he is just strictly talking about me. And he is going to try and make it seem, and if there isn't, I just know that if there was somebody that were to interview him and they were talking about me, it's either he's just going to be trying to avoid the conversation, or he is going to try to make it seem like that he tried to stop the drama and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, but what about all the videos that were made that led into TMossBoss getting all this unnecessary amount of hate, harassment? Like I'm saying, like if people want the like full just blow by blow, like the thing is this, in the times where people have interviewed me and asked me about our drama, I've never forgot nothing. I've always, people ask me about stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Unless it was like a video that I hadn't seen of his. Like now I've been seeing some of the videos that he's made on me. But other than that, people ask me all like, oh, so do you remember when this had happened to you? Yes. There has never been a time where anybody has brought something up to me and stuff, and I'm like, no, I don't recall that. I don't remember that. He might not recall and remember it, but I recall and remember it.
So toxic. I didn't want them to go after him. And I tried to talk things out with him in private. Eventually, it did work. Unfortunately, that created issues with him, Lio, and Linlin. And I was like, oh my god, I did not want that to happen. I try my best to work things out with people, but I just sometimes don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Like, I do desire revenge. I do desire to get back at people, but I also desire to work things out with people and talk through them, things with them.
Yeah, if they do something for you, if they're your editor, or if they help you out with a script, or if they're helping you out with whatever there needs to be helped with on your videos. And it's like, that's one thing that I have seen where it's like anybody that he's gotten into it with, they've done something for him, whether it was before or after, but it's like the thing is this, I don't think there's ever been a time where he's talked with people throughout his content creating career, and it's never been a time where they just like you're just now hearing about them for the first time. Like, oh, I didn't know he was cool with that person. I've never seen them do content with each other or help each other out with content. Everybody that he's collaborated with or done stuff with, they helped him out either behind the scenes or publicly on either their channel or his channel. But I don't think there's ever been a time where he's just made a friend and it's just been a friendship where it's like, we ain't gonna do anything for each other. I mean, if we do, it'll be out of the kindness of our heart, but we gonna be cool. It's friendship first. Nah, with him, it's like friendship second, business first. So
and with Lio, for a long time, that he was a big help with that. I sat down and talked things out with multiple people instead of just because as much as people fear my vengefulness, I also fear the vengefulness of others.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you are going to run across people like me who, someone's large audience potentially coming after them isn't going to be a threat at all. It's actually for quite a few commentators an invitation. And because you've been within the ACC. You sort of, I feel like you've ended up with a bit of leeway to act in that way that you just wouldn't have survived in other spaces. Do you think that, I noticed that you don't seem to hold that same vengefulness towards sort of general commentary like Oggy RFC?
No, I don't. Because, like, to be perfectly honest, they don't piss me off in the same way. Like, I saw Oggy RFC's video on me. I was like, yeah, not the new one, the John Swan one. Mm-hmm. I made a video taking the explaining my thought process, and that I'm glad they called me out. I don't fully remember the video because I did later unlist it along with my John Swan video. Like, and also aside from now, it's now happening, but aside from the last week, the other communities of creators haven't ticked me off. They haven't done anything that really pissed me off. I've had very small dramas with other like groups and stuff.
Do you feel like anybody currently has pissed you off from those other communities?
Currently, sure, I'm pissed off. Don't get me wrong, I am a bit pissed off at a lot of people who said a lot of things about me. But I can understand where they're coming from. It doesn't seem to come from a place of malice. So I'm not pissed off in the same way I'm pissed off as at an ACC person.
Do you feel like the friendships you make are made on the basis of mutual benefit, or as you would see it? Because I look at the DMs you had with Cine, both kind of how you're building that relationship, but also what you said about, well, I've spoken to Chad Logic, we can get him on side. I've seen what you've said to Goblin about fighting in your comment section in your defense. And
I was absolutely spurting out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to ask anyone to do, even a fan, let alone another creator, especially a small creator. But also, wider to that, you've asked Ponder for defense. You've gone to Lio to defend you. I assume similar things have happened with Peaches and Doodles, Spock, to many of the people you've interacted.
Most likely, if I would have taken that deal with him in 2016, he had been looking at me to make a defense video on him. And I'm like, bruh, I'm not putting myself in that crossfire. I'm like, that is you and your war. You decided to make that video. They ain't got nothing to do with it. I guarantee, I promise you, he'd be like, oh no, TMossBoss stabbed me in the back. And I'm like, bro, I didn't even want to be bothered with you in the first place. So it's like, yeah, it's one of those things, you just sit down and think about it. It's like, you're trying to make friends with people that ain't really seeking a friendship with you, so it's like, yeah, that's why it's like, you see where there's some people where they're jumping to just the robot's defense, and they most likely are going to try to still work with him in the future. But then you got others where it's like, nah, this is a toxic environment. There's no reason for me to be involved. I'm moving on with my life. So, anyways,
Interacted with, and when those people are no longer useful to you, it does seem like you just drop them.
yeah.
Well, I went to Doodle Tones. I helped Doodle Tones out in the icy hazard situation. I don't remember. I don't think I asked her to help me out with the junkie situation, but I think she just wanted to. And but I can totally understand where you're coming from with everyone else. Like I did ask Spoctor to help me out. He refused to. I did ask Ponder. She didn't. Lio helped me out multiple times, but I can see this pattern forming. And after I took a step back, I was actually doing a lot of reflection on this today. I've been watching a lot of BoJack Horseman because of how he kind of does that too with people. In that show, so I was realizing, holy fuck, was I actually doing this? And now I'm starting to believe I was. And I'm going to reflect.
Hold on for a second. It took him to watch a cartoon show. All right. This is a BoJack Horseman. From what I remember, there's a cartoon show of a horse that can stand up like that. It's a horse head, but a human. But you know, it's one of those things where let's say if I was in a courtroom, right, and just a robot came walking in and he pointed himself as my lawyer. I'm like, Judge, even though I know I didn't commit those crimes, I'm guilty. Go ahead, put me in prison. I'm like, cause it's one of those things where I feel like that he would reference something that I'm like, the judge would look at him and be all like, what are you even talking about? Like, fam, I'm about to hold you in contempt of court. Like, what statement did you just make? And that's what it's just something where I'm just sitting there like, okay, so I'm like, I think they usually like prisoners trip over the bunk beds and stuff. So I think I'll just, if it's me and a guy, if we go in there at the same time, I'll just automatically just choose the bottom bunk bed and stuff, just so there won't be no conflict. But if he likes the bottom bunk bed, I understand. You roll out, fall. That's a hard. I'm thinking of what my stay is going to be like in prison because I know I'm going to be found guilty. Even if the evidence where it's all like it's a way for me to get up out. It could be the easiest case of all time where they was like you wasn't at the crime scene, there wasn't no DNA, any of that stuff. I still would plead guilty because I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not gonna. We're not gonna win this case. So I'm like, Judge, just you might as well just go ahead and just put me off up in prison right now. I'm like, I looked at my family. I'm like, hey. See you guys. I'm like, give them all the passwords and info that they need and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, I'm going to prison if he's my lawyer.
Reflect on it more and more, but I think I am. I'm starting to think I'm not a good person, and I do use people for my own benefit.
Do you feel like,
wow.
It's interesting looking at the similarities between Spoctor and Cinebat, for example, because these are two people who had, fairly serious accusations against them. But it seems like, if the wind turned in another direction, you would have potentially tried to protect Spoctor more. You said, well, Peach's biggest mistake was running away and deleting her channels. But I mean, Peach's outright falsely accused Lio of abuse and multiple other people of things who tried to, destroy people's lives. So, I mean, again, it's the way, from the outside, it looks like you've gone, well, they were fine. Their mistake was not being around anymore. Which,
I absolutely did not mean for it to come across that way. Okay, let me take a deep breath here.
Sure.
Like, when it comes to cancellation, Peaches running away, like, if you run away, you can't fix your mistakes. You can't give proper closure to those you've hurt. And,
it's like, no, I think whoever this hopeless Peaches person is, I think they realize that I can't come back and have the same career that I once had before. I dug myself a hole where I can't get out of it. So the best thing that I could do, find another path that I can follow and get behind and all that stuff. And then I guess if they do decide to come back, they do. But it's one of those things where I'm like, a person doesn't need to come back. If you get canceled for some, I've seen people get canceled for stuff far less than any of the things that had been brought up around just the robot's name or the people that he's behind and stuff. I've seen people get canceled for stuff where it's like, it seems like that, yeah, maybe after a couple of years done past, like it should be over with now. One person that I reference a lot and I talk about a lot because I have to say this guy probably has to hold the record for the world's longest cancellation of all time. But it was this I don't think he does content no more, but it was this guy named Gujan Daniel. He was cool with KSI. For those that know of that YouTuber, if not, go look him up. But anyways, but no, yeah, he was cool with KSI back in the day. But he did this interview where they asked him, like all these people that he was thankful for. He named off all these people. When they got down to KSI, he was all like, "Who is that? I don't know who that is." Ruined his career. Anytime, like, this was at a point in time when dislikes were noticeable on his channel, and you probably could find one of those like plugins where it like reveals the dislikes. You check any of his videos, I'm pretty sure all his videos have dislikes, because that's something that, like, if I my thing is this, if I'm still talking about it till this day, I guarantee and I promise you there's probably some core fans. If not, there's people that are just now subscribing to KSI for the first time, seeing who this Gujan, because I don't think he took down none of those Gujan Daniel videos and stuff. And yeah, he's seeing, or even if they're watching some other content when his name is being mentioned and they're like, wait, who's this Gujan Daniel guy? So pretty much that guy still gets hated on till this day. And that happened, I think, well over 10 years ago. So yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, people, that's the thing with cancellation. I think he realized that just the times when he did try to come back, that he can't have the same career that he once had. So, and the crazy thing about it is that I remember, I think it was right before KSI's first boxing match, that they had squashed the beef. They were cool with each other and stuff, but yeah, overall, still, it was like he was still getting hate, still getting drama. I think if anything, that just reignited the hate towards Gujan Daniel. But anyways,
I did not mean for it to come across that way. I really did not. I could have sworn I just said that about more so Spocter, because like it kind of confirmed. It kind of looked like it was a confirmation of guilt with the way he ran, and that's why I don't want to run. I want to work through this, but I am having a lot of my flaws pointed out to me, and I know I'm not a perfect person. Hell, I might even be a horrible person. So when I have all this pointed out to me, I can see where I messed up and I can work on myself, and I would rather do that than just run away.
So, just on dramas and things, did you feed information to Akumu on Lyo and others during the recent drama?
Did I feed information to Akumu about Lyo?
Yeah.
Let me check here.
it's like it should just be no, I didn't, or yes, I did. Like, I wish there was a TV show. Man, I think I just came up with $1 million idea. But no, I wish there was a TV show where it can like people. It's like it's fake, but it's like a game show almost, and you have to either, like, I guess, like, whatever, well, more so try to like be found like not guilty. But they should have like a game show, like a court game show, where it's like there's like the judge, or I guess like if the judge wants to be the like the was, I don't know, like, what do they call it, like people there like Ryan Seacrest on Wheel of Fortune, like, not the talk show or the host, the TV host or something, regardless. But yeah, they should just have it where there's a court game show where a person has to find themselves guilty, but overall it's like if they like, if regardless of like whatever the crime is, but it's like, yeah, crime is being made up, court, and then yeah, then it's like some fictional court show, then it's like left up to the audience members on whether the person is guilty or not guilty and things. But I would just love to see just a robot on a show like that, because I just know that he would actually be trying to look up evidence, and I feel like he'll get mad, go and do an exposing video on the court show, like, oh, they cheated me out of the $10,000 and stuff, like, I almost won, but the audience, they worked against me and things, like, they didn't believe any things I said. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's just like, look how you worded a lot of this stuff. It's like you out here like, if it'll probably be like some stuff where it's all like they like, that's what his episode is like he's going down for a murder or something, and he's all like, well, he's like, it states here in the documents that they said that the murder weapon was a knife, but I'm like, wouldn't scissors be a lot easier to use and stuff? And it's like, bro, you just stop it. Don't say nothing else. Just stop. Like, I've been his lawyer. I'm like, bro, stop it. Okay, just no, don't say nothing else, because it's like now they're gonna be thinking, oh, well, it's like that's why they couldn't find no murder weapon. It wasn't no knife in the first place. It was scissors. And so yeah, I'm like, just stop, bro. Don't say nothing else. Like, he really gotta look for some stuff. It's like, it's yes or no, bruh.
I'm trying to look through my DMs.
Sure, take your time. It's fine.
I'm not reading them. I'm just trying to see pictures and stuff.
Is yes or no? You don't know how to just say yes or no?
It's a lot of. I think I might have. I just don't know for sure.
Okay. It's just again, it's just there's this when you moderated that debate, it seemed like you were holding a very neutral position.
Yeah, I was trying to because ultimately, okay, so yes, actually now I remember, I did send Akumu DMs about Lio because so he said basically Lio. I brought up Akumu and Lio talked about how he was going to rip him in half or something or snap him in half, and I sent that to Akumu, and then after that I was like trying to get them to sit down and have a proper conversation because I could tell Lio was misunderstanding Akumu or being fed false information, and I didn't want there to be a drama between the two of them because I knew it would either end badly for Lio or Akumu. And I only and Akumu asked if he could show the DMs in a video, and I told him let me ask Lio. I showed Lio that I did send him DMs, and I asked him, can I tell Akumu that I sent him that he can use these in a video? And Lio said yes. Like I was doing my due diligence there.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm just trying to sort of again just build this picture. Okay, I think one thing that has sort of been brushed upon, but no one's really gone in depth because I think a lot of it is behind the scenes. When FPS Diesel came in and played you the recording of the voice message that you sent to one of your artists, that became a bit of a sideline. Diesel comes in and drops a bombshell. Now, as far as I can tell, from what I've been told, every woman within the ACC who you've interacted with has a story like this.
Yes.
And when I spoke to Lio about it, he said, well, I wasn't aware Jar was still doing that. My understanding was that Jar had a girlfriend now and had stopped.
It truly my sense of humor. This is how I joke around, and I really should have stopped joking around like this once I got a girlfriend. This is not my attempts to hit on anyone.
Sure, it's not. It's again like my.
And the thing is this, I think that was said before, where it's like, I think was it with the malware situation where it was like if let's say she took on his like advances or was like overall went up to his hotel room and stuff, do you think you're gonna be all like, oh no, I was just joking, like I was just, especially because I think he did say at that time he was single, he wasn't in a relationship. So my thing is this, you being a single man, you invite a single woman up to your hotel room and you're just joking about inviting her up. Yeah, that's why I'm like, nah. It's just you. The thing is this: you have a way of wording things to where people are not gonna look at it as a joke. All right, so yeah, that's something where I'm like, nah, I don't believe that every time he done had some. Yeah, I think he probably does say that to guys too, because I guess he probably knew one day he would get canceled for that type of stuff. So he probably at first was saying it just to just strictly to women, but then he's all like, no, let me go and start saying this to guys too. So I guess like if I do get called out or canceled for this in the future, I could say, oh, well, I say this to guys too. So it's like not only are you weird to women, but you're weird to men too. Like it's not something that's going to justify your actions. Like, bro, that's just a weird thing to say to people where you're asking them about your private parts, and then you're all like, oh, well, I'll just send a picture of a chicken and things, and it's like, man, come on now.
I guess my view towards you isn't sort of, well, this is flirtatious. Though there's I can see where that accusation comes from. I don't want to ascribe things. What I can say is this stuff is very, very odd. I mean, the let's talk about VidCon, because I've seen DM messages from you to Mally, and I've heard the stories of you sort of trying to find the girls at VidCon, and your interactions with Ponder. I mean, do you recognize these as sort of quite abnormal things to do?
Well, at first I wanted to meet up with Mal, and the others because I've interacted with them for so long, and then Mal just was like, I don't want to see you, and I wasn't looking for them. Like, I wasn't looking for Mal or the others. Like, I swear, first person I saw at VidCon was Harley. I think they were in a CVS pharmacy with possibly the right opinion. My roommate can confirm this for me. My roommate can, and I was just like, I don't want to interact with Harley. Like, Harley and the others are upset with me. I don't.
He says that his roommate, and it's like, bro, your roommate is taking your side. It's not like your roommate's gonna have a neutral mindset. I just know that based off of that call that he had with Mally Malware, where it's like, and the funny thing is, I just remember people say that with me when I was getting into it with him, and I was saying like, people, you have like this opinion about me, but people that actually do know me is going to tell a different story. But that was the one thing that they were saying, where it's like, well, that's because they're your friends, they're your family. Of course, they're gonna say things to defend you. How is that valid for me, but it ain't valid for you? Like, oh, my roommate has a neutral mind. Yeah, I'm not, bro. I'm not trying to hear anything your roommate says. After that call that you had with Melly Malware, I'm like, I ain't trying to hear nothing that your roommate got to say. Because it's just, yeah, he's just going to take your side. He ain't going to see just overall how weird that is, where it's like, because my thing is this. Yeah, go to VidCon. Yeah, have fun. Do whatever it is that you want to do. But my thing is this. Everybody that was in that group where they're like running away from somebody, who else are they going to be doing that with? And I'm not trying to hear no stuff where they are a public figure and they are out in public. No, bruh. The thing is this. I wouldn't say that they're that much of a public figure to where they're going to have people, I guess, carrying on like that. The thing is this. Just based on some of the content that I've seen from those individuals involved, they don't seem like the type to be having weird people. And then again, I could be wrong. But my thing is this, though. It didn't look like that VidCon event was like this busy place, and plus on top of that, there's probably a lot of them people that don't even know who they are, don't even know what they look like and stuff. And so yeah, unless they got some crazy stalkers, that'll be the only way. But my thing is this. Nobody else is I guess was like messaging them or carrying on in a certain way. And I'm pretty sure they've seen all their comments, all their messages, anything that's being sent their way through social media or any other platform, where they gonna most likely see, okay, like, let me. And then on top of that too, it's like, you got where a lot of people where they be trying to like not really post their locations and all that stuff. So on top of that, if they never did post their location or lab, I'm pretty sure they might have made some stuff saying like, oh, gonna be at VidCon and things this weekend or whatever and stuff. But if they didn't do that, they didn't post that stuff until afterwards, who else is gonna know that it's them? So it's like, based on that video that we seen where they were like running up some escalators or was trying to get away from somebody, who else are they gonna be doing that to? So yeah, if you're the only person that knew that they were, I would assume that you were the only person that knew they were gonna be there. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not hearing that like, oh, I wasn't trying to do anything to them. You're chasing them around VidCon, and I think he even said that in one video where he was all like, oh, if I would have seen, I can't remember who the person's name was, but he was like, oh, I would have seen them be all like, hey, how did you feel about that video that was made upon you? And it's like, bruh, they don't want to be bothered with you. What part of that do you not understand? Like, it don't matter if they're a public figure. It don't matter whatever the situation is. You have to learn how to respect a person's boundaries. Point blank, period.
Don't want to interact with them right now. And as for the thing at VidCon with Ponder,
do you want to give me your version of that? Because
yeah,
the version I've heard is you sort of approaching her and shaking her hand, telling her who you were, and then laughing manically while walking away.
Okay, yeah, I get that. So what actually happened was I sat down to eat some ice cream, and then I heard Ponder's voice, and I looked to my left, and I noticed, that person looks like Ponder. And then I read the name tag, and I was like, oh my god, this is Ponder. So I said, oh, are you Ponder Sprocket? She gave me a sticker. I shook her hand. I said, I'm also a YouTuber. And she says, oh, who? And I said, just a robot. She yelled out, oh my god. And I immediately let go of her hand. She says I squeezed it, but I distinctly remember letting go, like just letting go immediately because I didn't want it to linger. And then I walked away.
Wasn't it that like he squeezed her hand, then said, just a robot? But it's one of those things where I'm like, but why do you even approach them in the first place? I imagine like if whoever this visual is, yeah, I was like, I think I seen the video they were talking about that, but it's like, if they're involved in that group, I'm pretty sure they got to talking like, oh yeah, just a robot's being weird and all this other stuff. Again, respecting a person's boundaries. That's it. That's all you got to do. So yeah, it's one of those things to any and everybody that does, I guess, from that group that, has a issue with just the robot and stuff. Be careful if you ever do go to any other future VidCon events, because I just feel like it's going to be the same situation all over again, if not worse.
And then when I got inside, I kind of laughed about it because of her reaction.
Do you, I mean, with the messages you sent to Mally, do you understand that those come across in quite, I mean, I know we're not saying flirtatious as a jokey side to it, but I mean, you did say, well, if you don't want to meet up or VC, we could meet for drinks and come to my hotel room.
And then I said, lol, JK, or something.
Sure, but that's still a very aggressively.
It's like I'm gonna start doing that from now on. Like I'm gonna go and contact Bank of America, be like, hey, I'm gonna rob you guys. LOL, JK. And it's like, no, Brad. It's just there's some situations where LOL, JK ain't gonna work. So it's like I'm just saying, Bank of America, don't play. I'm just using you guys as an example, okay? Just make sure that you guys hear this part. I'm using you guys as an example. Relax. No, but I'm just saying though, it's like that's not a LOL JK thing to like. My thing is this. It's I feel because I know there's at times when I be joking around with my friends, not people that I'm associated in the same communities with. No, people that I'm friends with, people where I'm like, okay, I'm inviting you over for the holidays, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same thing where they invite me over in the holidays. That's just not still. I just feel like that's not something that I joke around with. Like I don't know, I guess like maybe my sense of humor is different, but yeah, it's like my thing is this. Like I felt like I've threatened like wrestling violence on my, well, no, I have not even. I think I know I have threatened wrestling violence on my friends, but it's one of those things where they know that I'm joking. They know that I'm not gonna actually go out RKO them, Batista bomb them through no table. What else have I don't think, have I ever threatened a Batista? I feel like that's the next thing I gotta threaten my friends with. I gotta threaten them with a Batista bomb, just to let them know. I'm like, hey, it's like if I catch you out here lacking, you're gonna catch this Batista work real quick. But anyways, but the thing is this though. They know that I'm joking. They know that I definitely ain't got the strength to do that, but I'm not gonna go out my way to do or say no stuff like that. But I mean, what say is like as far as it's gonna go, but it's like as far as actually doing it or going through with it, it's like nah. But it's like it's one of those things. If my friends did feel, I guess, threatened by that, like me, saying that I'll do a wrestling move to them, I'm like, hey, I apologize. Like I didn't realize because I imagine there is gonna be a backstory behind it on why they don't like things like that being said to them. So I'm like, hey, you ain't even gotta. I feel like I overstepped the boundaries. Didn't even know if you was comfortable with that type of stuff or not. But that's just how I talk. I talk with my family with like that. But it's not like all of them and they ain't all my friends. So yeah, there are some friends where I'm like I respect them and I'm like yeah I ain't gonna say no crazy things to them and stuff. But it's like as the friendship goes on, then it's like oh, okay cool. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you have to understand that Mally Malware and everybody else that was involved in that group, they're not gonna be like your roommate or anybody else. And you can't force them to be like your roommate or anybody else that you're cool with. So, anyways,
Sexual thing to say, right?
Yes, I realize that. I know I need to stop this. I've been given warnings about it. It's just now finally catching up to me. But this is something that is this is my one of my biggest character flaws, and it's always been my style of humor. And I don't know how. I'm going to try to get better, but sometimes I think, can I even do that?
Because I mean, again, looking at even like minor players like Sunny, you posed, I believe, her to voice a character, a mouse that would be in love with you for your videos.
No.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. I don't think her character was supposed to be in love with me. There was just okay. So, how what was it? Resident Evil 4, I believe. How there was this like mouse, like people were memeing that like the president's daughter was like this mouse version of herself.
Sure.
Yeah, and as I've never played Resident Evil 4, I do not know if her and Leon get into a relationship, but the mouse was supposed to say things like cheese whiz Mr. Jar and stuff like that, and then she told me she didn't want to do that, and I assumed it was because of the cheese whiz part, but later she explained to me that she's from Wales and Mr. Implies a form of like authority over someone, and I had no idea about that. That's not a thing as far as I'm aware in the States. Mr. is just like what you call an adult male where I'm from.
Okay, that again clears up. It's and again I know the artist in question, who you sent those voice messages to.
Oh, who is it?
So
I made a mistake. I thought it was the one who made the thumbnail for the Cine video because I couldn't even remember. But which artist was it?
I'm just gonna leave that anonymous if that's all right. But because from my perspective, this didn't come as a I'd heard some of these stories beforehand of sort of odd interactions. So it seems like if it's like done amongst close friends, you can kind of go that's understandable. But this seems to be just your interactions generally are quite odd.
Yes.
Overall,
yeah. No, I want to make this clear. I'm not using this as an excuse, but just as an explanation. I'm not saying this completely means what I'm doing is okay. But not only do I have autism and dyslexia, so communication between people, especially through text, is horrible. But
it's like, yeah, that's pretty much what he's saying. He's explaining that the reason why he makes sexual comments towards people is because he has autism and dyslexia. Again, went to school with kids that had autism, went to school with a kid that had dyslexia. Never once did they ever say anything sexually weird towards me and stuff. Even just taking away the sexual, just flat out weird. They don't say weird stuff like that. So yeah, that's not no explanation. That's not no excuse. That's not nothing. You're trying to, I guess it's, well, yeah, maybe it might be overall an excuse, but it's like, no, bro, you're just weird. It's one of those things where it's like, you should have known that everybody is not going to be involved. And even Beckett said it himself, where it's all like, yeah, it's like close friends, okay. As far as anybody else, it's like, bruh, no, you, again, boundaries. You have to respect the person's boundaries. That's it.
On top of that, I was pretty much homeschooled all my life, so I didn't really get to interact with people. And I've actually lost jobs because of this, making jokes like this. Sometimes, and after a while, I started avoiding female coworkers, and then I started avoiding coworkers altogether because I was just like, "What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong?"
And I can say right now, this, like, yes, I'm a straight man. All right, love women. My thing is this though, and yes, I have worked with female coworkers. Never once did I say anything sexual to them. And there were some female coworkers that were single that worked alongside with me and stuff. Never say anything sexual to them. Would crack jokes, would tell them like personal stories about me, but as far as like anything else, that was the thing where it was like, even like, because at the workplace, even customers too, but it's like even outside, because there were some coworkers that I ended up be like full-blown befriending, where it's like, it ain't like no job friendship. Like, it's a full-blown friendship. Like, we following each other on social media, hanging out after work and things. Still never say anything crazy towards them. And I feel like it's gonna take, that's what it is gonna take one day. I feel like he ain't gonna change like how he does talk with people. He gonna mess around and say it to the wrong somebody. Well, he don't come, just a robot don't come off as somebody that says the things that he says in messages to somebody's face. So unless like he really knows them, like his roommate or something, then I feel like that well, no, then then again, it's like, yeah, he did just say that he was like he says these things to or used to, but I feel like he's gonna go right back to his old ways, say those same things to female coworkers, and then they go call their boyfriend, and then just a robot. It's gonna have to. He don't look or sound like a fighter. It's gonna be one of those things. He's gonna have to run for his life, because I'm like, now you then said something to where it's like now the boyfriend or husband, whoever done got involved and stuff. But it's like that's something too, where it's all like, where you say this to single women or women that were in a relationship. Because I'm like, yeah, if you were saying it to single women, you were trying to shoot your shot. If you were saying it to women in a relationship, you were being weird, bro. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm about like, yeah, it's like, really, if you're gonna explain it, really sit down and explain it.
Plenty of people have explained it to me, and now it's hitting me harder than ever. And I'm going to try to work on myself, but I'm nervous that I'll never get better.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a thing about creators generally when they start, especially when they become sort of semi-successful, and they begin tying themselves to their channel and their fan base. It can be quite hard for that sort of self-ego reflection. I mean, I am fascinated by the Cinebear stuff generally, because it does seem like, you viewed this as just another time where you could come in. The work had sort of been done. I think you misjudged the temperature towards Cinebear, because many of us, just didn't want to fucking talk about it.
Oh, I absolutely understand. I did misread the situation, and another YouTuber explained to me other bad stuff Cinebear did, and I was like, oh my god, I understand why people are upset with me now.
Do you see this as like potentially creeping into?
I guarantee you, I promise you. Like, okay, so he's realizing that like after his cancellation and stuff. But let's say that this video boosted his channel to where it's like, instead of him having 200,000 subscribers, like let's say it's like now he has like 400,000, video has like 5 million views or something like that. Like all these, like, he's making all this money off of the video and stuff. Like he's in a good spot when it comes to content creating. Like he revived his channel, and that same thing was said to him, where it was like all this this stuff with that Cinnamon head did, how do you think he would have responded to that? I guarantee, I promise you, he would probably say something along the lines like, oh, well, that was in the past. She's different now. Left those messages alone. Wouldn't even have bothered to seen any other evidence or anything else that she's behind. He just all like, nope, she's helping me with these sleep calls and with these videos and stuff. So therefore, yeah, I'm not listening to anything that anybody got to say. He wouldn't have listened to his girlfriend, roommate, anybody else. He's all like, nope, I'm going to be side by side with this Cinnamon girl, and that's just how it's gonna go. And it's like, bruh, you have to still realize that it is morally wrong, the stuff that she was doing, you know. So it's like, my thing is this: I don't even need to hear all the stuff that she's done. I just know that just based on that one particular thing that she got called out for, which is what he tried to defend, that's all that I need to know of her. So people can tell me other things about her, and I'm like, it ain't surprising. Like, unless it's some like really, really crazy stuff. If not, then it's like, yeah, it's something where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, look at what she got canceled for. Y'all are surprised. So, anyways,
To again a pattern of behavior, because there are clips of you and comments that you've left about adult relationships with underage people, which like aren't they're not outright sort of thing where it's like you're promoting it, but you can seem like to I'm trying to be careful with my wording here, that you view it as something that becomes overblown, as opposed to something that is just an interaction that happens in online environments.
Okay, well, it depends on what clips you're talking about, but with certain things, like even with Call Me Carson, like I and many others defended him because it's like, okay, you dated someone 2 years younger than you. I also defended another person for dating someone 2 years younger than them, but they were pretending to be a girl when they weren't. So I realized my mistake there, and I edited. It was in one of my Daft videos, and I edited it out because I realized how much I messed up. With Cindy, I was convinced she wasn't a groomer, but she did speak incredibly inappropriately. And like when it comes to Vosh, like I say, point and laugh at Vosh for his folder leak all you want, but I don't think it makes him a child predator. Certainly closer to one than someone who wouldn't have that kind of folder. You get what I'm saying, though, right?
Sure. I mean, I mean, it's an interesting one when we look at people like Vosh and what people will overlook. Because I mean, would you agree that Vosh is a zoophile?
With the horses, at least when it comes to horses, yes.
So
I mean, and also the lizards, or salamanders or whatever pets he had, and highly possibly, yeah, he's probably into animals, but I don't think he's a zoo sadist, and I don't think he would actually do it with an animal, but I do think he does look at pornography of it.
So, I mean, when we're talking about sort of like, again, the downplaying of those things, I don't think this is just criticism I throw at you, by the way, at all. I said this of quite a few people who sort of looked at the folder leaks for Vosh and then went, well, we don't know if it's Lolicon. It's like, yeah, but we know that he wants to fuck horses. So, that sort of selective.
Wait, I thought we did know it was Lolicon.
Oh, this is just what other people's defenses said. Yeah, we do know it's Lolicon. It's just a few people wanted to try and massively downplay it. I'm just not accusing you of that. It's more the fact that, when people run defense for someone like Vosh, even if they're looking past the Lolicon stuff, they're still running defense for a zoophile. And I suppose the question I'm asking is, again, do you think there's an element of you that wants to win the argument rather than sort of make a point that you believe in?
Yes.
I think that is indeed possible, because I used to play devil's advocate long before I was Jar. I would just pick whichever was, I would, in the versus community on DeviantArt, I would argue for whatever people, I would argue against whoever for whatever reason, and sometimes I lost, sometimes I didn't, and I think that is something of note. When it comes to the downplaying of it, though, like, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I remember Pyro told a 15-year-old to draw a thicker, sexier version of his avatar, and he submits this in a video, and it's received incredibly well. So I'm sometimes scratching my.
Therefore, it makes it right. No, my thing is this: I've seen creators where I know there was one creator in particular that I remember where I'm like, I don't know, maybe he might have some black in his family and things. If not, this was a white YouTuber that was saying the N-word in his videos as if like nothing. And I called this guy out. And what was crazy was that like some of his fans were defended it and stuff. But I'm not going to look at it as like, oh, okay, like, well, if his fans is all for it, then I need to be all for it. No, it is still wrong. That's it. That's it, bruh. So it's like, my thing is this, if you see a video where something is like something that you're questioning is happening in the video, but oh, it receives positive feedback, so therefore it makes it right. It makes it okay. It's not. It's not okay. It's not right. That's something where it's like you can't defend that. You can't support that. There's nothing that you can possibly do to make people look at that as a okay thing to do. It's not. So
My head as to what the right answer with this stuff is, because it seems that people
it's like if you're having it where it's like if my thing is this, if a kid approaches me and they're like, hey, I want to make some art for you, I'm like, all right, cool. If it's like something like my profile picture, or if they're all like, oh yeah, I know you're a big fan of the Hulk, so it's like I did like this like Hulk themed art for you, I'm like, oh sick, man. It's like, no, you need to like work for Marvel or something. When it gets to that line of being like just overall inappropriate, where it's something sexual, it's something, I'm like, nope, that nope, can't do that. I'm like, that's just flat out weird. I'm like, I don't know why. It's like, and that's something where it's just, you might not see it on a regular, but it's like you're thinking in your head, this ain't right. And I'm like, this is not normal. Can't go on with this. I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm all like, hey kid, don't do that. Don't like that's make me any other PG art. But I'm like, as far even if the person is an adult, I still wouldn't want them doing no stuff like that. I find things like that weird. So, anyways, in my opinion,
Do you
on the
think as a
matter.
commentator you worry too much what an audience thinks, and other commentators and people of size think rather than what you think?
Yeah,
yes, because I don't think I know what right from wrong is sometimes, because I tried acting as nice as I could when I first joined the internet, and then I got canceled, and then I was like questioning if I knew right from wrong, and then it happened again and again.
bro. The thing is this. When I very first had got into no, it was like one of the first few beefs that I got into it with was Minnesota Boy. And for those that don't know, Minnesota Boy did this video where he made this racist rant on white people. Afterwards, oh yeah, there was a lot of his fans that were hating on me, but that's the thing though. That's why I remembered it was his fans. It wasn't all of the internet. It was just that particular fan base. So my thing is this: I'm still gonna have a brain at the end of the day, correct? I'm still gonna have my own thought process, correct? So why would I be like, oh well, since it's fans, they don't like what I said, therefore I have to. My thing is this: if I'm putting myself in this situation, because I'm like, there's always going to be a negative side and a positive side. If I'm aligning myself with the same negative side, yeah, if I feel like that, I probably would have gained some subscribers with the Minnesota Boy. But that's the thing, though. I still have a brain. I still have a thought process, so I know what he said wasn't right. I'm like, any other time I ain't seen somebody say some racist stuff on the internet, it usually ends up they end up getting canceled or something ends up happening to them. So that's why I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, you really must not put yourself out there socially and things to get involved with people. But I'm like, even then, still, that's a it was a friend of mine's. I remember at one point in time she did get homeschooled, but and I so I guess like she did kind of already have like some experience with like interacting with kids, public schools, and all that stuff. But at one point in time, she was getting homeschooled, and she was like, it was like online schooling. I don't know, but regardless of the fact, she ain't changed her ways. She ain't become some like evil-minded person. She's still the same well, I don't know. It's been years, but she's just based on her social media platform. She don't seem like she's a weird individual and stuff. So that's I'm like, yeah, ain't hearing that either. Like you can go ahead and try to convince somebody else of that, but not hearing it. So
And again, and I became a meaner, edgier guy, and then I still keep messing up. And this is when you asked me, I think I understand now when you said, what is the picture of just a robot? I guess you're right. I don't even know my picture. I can't even look at my reflection and understand who I am sometimes.
Yeah, because I mean part of the advantage you've had is the people who've come after you are either sort of insane liars who will literally just make up insane stuff that makes no sense, or you've dealt with people like Prison Mate Luke, who or people like Omnia.
Oh, wait, isn't that the same thing?
Well, yes, partly, but it's also people who won't even if Luke had points, and I think while he framed you unfairly and left out some context about the kind of place you existed in when you made some of those comments. I mean, I'd say this. I would not prescribe racism to you, but then I don't care. But at the same time, from some of the clips I've seen, if somebody makes that accusation towards you, I think that's a reasonable accusation to make, in the same way that people have made accusations towards me of, say, homophobia or being right-wing because of random things I've said. I'm like, well, that's, I'm not those things, but I accept the accusation. It doesn't really bother me. So it's, you know, when I look at the accusations made against you, it's like, well, these have legs, but your reaction to them isn't, I don't care. Of course I said those things. It's, how dare you call me racist? How dare you call me this thing or sexist, or, you know, try and come after me for this, which is...
I actually wish people would call me sexist. Like, I was so sick of the
Who comes out and says stuff like that? Oh, I wish people would. Yeah, they just call me up something else that's negative. Yeah, his thought process on stuff. I'm like, sir, you need a mental evaluation test, and you just overall need some sort of help. Like, that's whatever help you was getting before. Fire that. Get some new help.
Racism thing. I was just, can you guys call me sexist? There's way more evidence for that.
I mean, I think there's a fair amount of evidence for both, but again, I don't care about cancellations or anything like that. It's not my bag. I guess I wonder, looking at this, when, you know, you've got a decently sized platform where your job on the internet is to commentate on things, where you're sort of saying to me, well, yes, I commentate on things, but I'm not actually sure I have any actual opinions, which is, you know, a bit of an odd juxtaposition.
I do have opinions. I do. It's just, I want my opinion to be right. Well, I guess everybody does to a certain extent. It's just, sometimes I'm trying to... The problem with, one of my biggest problems is I'm trying to seem like a very good version of myself to both sides, or all sides, and I've been trying to strike that balance, and I can't, and now I have to realize, who am I? And a lot of people have noticed I've flip-flopped to being more progressive and trying to work on pronouns, to being more edgy, and I keep going back and forth. I'm like, I don't know what I prefer. I don't know what I want.
I mean, from what I hear, your next venture was going to be into talking about politics?
Well, that I am doing that on my old channel, but it's more spectrum with politics, like where people fall on certain issues. Like I did one on the spectrum of global warming, and I'm doing another one about, I did another one about like the different kinds of centrist, and I was thinking of doing another one on the different kinds of anarchist eventually. And I ventured into that because I was like, I don't know where I fall so much that maybe going through all of this stuff, like where different people lie, I can find out where I lie.
So you gotta make a video about
Sure,
that?
that makes sense. Looking at where you're sat now, I know you've said you're not going to make more drama videos, so you're going to take a step back from that because of Laya. Is that, you know, I suppose the question people will have is this you saying that now? But then in 6 months, 12 months, whatever, you'll be like, well, now it's died down, I can take a hit at the people who took shots at me.
That's a good question. That is an excellent question. I'm thinking of making my backdrop like, don't get back into drama, on my laptop, so I can keep reminding myself. I just don't know if I'll go back to it or not. I hope I don't, but I know myself.
Well, just a robot talking on TMossBoss, coming soon to a theaters near you. He's definitely gonna get back into drama. And that's one thing about it. I think it's just the question, when is he gonna get back into drama? But he's definitely gonna get back into drama.
And I know I get angry and want to get back at people, but I was reflecting earlier today on everything, and I realized none of this is just losing me sleep. This is making me upset. And if I get back at someone, it just creates, it's like fighting a hydra. You cut off one head, 2 or 3 more grow back. And going through all of this, it really hit me that I should just do what I originally wanted to do and just review media and try to ignore criticism I get from people.
Do you feel like this lack
It's
of...
like, no, that's the thing though. You have to accept criticism. It don't matter what kind of criticism it is. You have to accept criticism. That's one thing that I've learned from just a robot, is that criticism is needed. It doesn't matter how much you try to avoid criticism is needed. So that's why I'm like, yeah, like I said, it's just gonna be in a matter of time before we look up, and it's gonna be a situation where he makes a video on somebody, whether it's me, whether it's on somebody else. Somebody's gonna say something that's gonna really get him upset. He ain't gonna, my thing is this, he ain't gonna be all like, oh, well, he's gonna remove that background picture saying like, don't get back into drama. He's gonna change it to something else, and he's gonna get right back into the drama. I guarantee and I promise you.
Friends is, yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I've heard you make the statements of, well, you know, it was Lio, Peaches, Doodles, we were all friends. That I missed that, which is again interesting because with the exception of Lyra, who you now won't make a video on, but we're planning to. You have burned those people. Um,
Well, yeah, but with Doodle Tones, I don't think it was really justifiable. That's why I took the video down. With Peach, after Lio explained it to me, with Peaches, I think she was. I don't think I was the one who burned that down. I'm pretty sure it was her.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's fair. That doesn't surprise me. Peaches did that a lot.
Yeah, and I'm just. I want to have a group of YouTube friends that we work together. We bounce ideas off one another, but I don't think I can get that in the drama community. I think I need to go to like a reviewer community or something. And everyone knows my content is incredibly inconsistent, and that's because I'm trying to decide what I want to do on YouTube.
Do you feel like it's because again, from my perspective, it seems like you go, that person has big channel, therefore I'll side with that person. That person will owe me favors. But I mean, it's interesting now because when I look at you and your interactions and the stuff people say about you, you have a channel of 200k plus, a channel of 99k as your secondary. But the way people talk about you isn't as a big creator. It's almost like the way they respond to you is almost like a Twitter troll, which I mean is quite.
Yeah, because I've said that before. I still view him as the same person I came across back almost 10 years ago, where he did have like 3,000 subscribers or something like that. And I think he had 3,000 at the time. But yeah, I still view him as that same person. It's like nothing has really changed. My thing is this. He had just that almost 10-year period to change, or I guess like from the like first time when me and him very first had crossed paths all the way up to that Cinnabare video, he had years, a lot of time to where he could have changed, he could have reinvented himself, he could have did whatever he possibly could have did. The thing is this, all right? He didn't, okay? He didn't change. He continued doing what he was doing. That's why I was like, I never really looked at him as a threat. I never really looked at him. Yeah, it's like, I'll admit, like, he definitely did mess up my career for a little bit, with the nonstop dislikes and the hate comments and stuff. But other than that, it was like, he's still that same person, like, ain't nothing with him changed. So why, I guess, like, my question would be, why would we expect any change from him now, where he had all this time to change? I mean, I'm saying, like, he then said racist things, he then said sexist things, he then said stuff to offend any and everybody around him, stab people in the back. Why all of a sudden now he's gonna change? Because of this Cinnabare stuff? Man, come on now.
Almost quite rare, because the interactions you've had is almost like, well, we'll just ignore this person, and they're just doing their thing. I mean, has that occurred to you previously, that that's a mismatch from your station to how people interact with you?
Yeah, that has come up in my mind before, and at least I'm ignoring, for the most part, what's going on now. Like, I'm staying off Twitter, I'm trying to stay off YouTube. I am talking to people because I want to know where I'm wrong, and the biggest spotlight has ever been put on me, ever. I cannot believe how much this blew up. And I see where I messed up. It's just, when you constantly win, like I have, you start to think you know what you're doing. And I constantly go back and forth between, do I know what I'm doing? Do I not know what I'm doing? Should I take advice from people? Should I not? Who am I? And then I think, oh, well, when push comes to shove, I show people that this guy was worse than me, so therefore I must be the right guy. And I to this day, my
That pointing fingers stuff.
I just don't know.
Talked on that.
I mean, the part of the
before.
reason I wanted to do it as this as a call is because I don't want to. I don't want to. I didn't want to sit with you on a stream and have an influence of an audience, or to think about like what's entertaining. I really wanted to talk to you about some of the stuff because I hear stories. I think there's like confirmations in here, which is great, and also some kind of corrections, which I think is really important. Can I be honest with you?
I would rather have you be honest with me than lie to me.
The way I read this, and I mean, again, I dig. It's what Copency does. It's honestly why we're as successful as we are, especially for a channel our size. We have a very outsized impact. The way I read your previous wins, victories, and everything else is, I don't know whether you do it consciously or not, or whether there's a button in your head that sort of pushes you in a direction, but there is a tacticalness that has allowed you to win for so long, and I think that has been because of the people around you. And Cinnabare is, a repeat of your normal pattern without the infrastructure that you've had previously. So,
Well, correction, once it didn't work, and that was the Toby drum. I had help from what do you call it, Manga Common and Future Butters, and I think if I didn't have help from at least Future Butters, that whole thing would have gone by so much better. But so it doesn't always work, but like, yeah, sometimes I do need people around me to say, stop doing this, this is stupid, do this instead. I've been insulted saying my videos are designed by committee instead of just me, and I think they're right, because I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. It's probably due to being homeschooled. You don't know, you don't develop your own way of doing things.
Yeah, and it's one of these where some of the previous people who've come after you are frankly just idiots, and that's sort of given you the byline to say things like, well, I'm uncancelable, I'm the person you can't make into a lolcow, I always win. But
okay, I've said the last two, but I don't think I've ever said I'm uncancelable, because I've said multiple times that I know eventually I'm going to get canceled.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fair. I'll accept that. But it's the there's an element here where, because of when you walk in, if you had stepped into the FCK drama on Lyo's side, or even potentially on Akumu's side, if that had gone badly, because the big thing that changed with that drama as well, and I don't think people realize that, but the big thing that clinched that was the fact that multiple other commentators came out, myself included. I think I came out instantly, and while everyone else was saying, well, Lyo was abused by Peaches, despite how critical I was of Lyo at the time, I said, no, he fucking wasn't. There's no way any of this is true. And if those things hadn't lined up and you'd come out in their defense, you could have ended up in a bad situation, but you didn't come out at all. You waited. And, and when you say, well, I win all the time, it's like, well, yeah, because you're coming in with a battle's already won, with sort of a shiny, unbashed breastplate and a big, very untorn flag saying, don't worry, guys, just a robot's here. And
okay. I get that, but when it came to like the Prismate Luke and Peach's stuff, I was on the losing side. So at least I have one example of that. Like when I wasn't like, and when it came to the Doodle Tones situation, Doodle Tones and like 5 or 6 of her friends jumped on me all at once. In fact, Doodle Tones had the bigger channel at the time, and I fought back, and then luckily Mr. Medicare came in and like completely turned the odds in my favor.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, even with Peaches, your mea culpa to Peaches when she won wasn't, well, I still dislike Peaches. It's, I'm going to make a ton of defense videos on Peaches and become friends with her.
Yeah, because like I didn't like her at first, because like she told me not to mention her, and I didn't, and then she was upset that I didn't, and then I felt angered by that. And stepping back, I realized, oh my god, maybe I was completely wrong about Peaches, because I didn't even agree with the evidence, most of the evidence at the time, and the 3 things I did agree with, I didn't agree with them anymore. Once I realized that, and like I don't want to be like the name's Junkie. He would always wait for a drama to be completely over, and one day he didn't wait for something. He thought something was over and it wasn't, and it caused his downfall. And I don't want to be that guy. And to be fair, with the Sydney situation, like I was definitely going against the grain, hoping things would get reversed, and I would have looked cool. And I realize now, oh wait,
okay, so it was like I just had to process that. He said he was on the losing side of Prison Mate Luke. My thing is this, but how did you respond to that though? Maybe I'll know. Maybe he did apologize and I just missed it. But my thing is this. I'm like, I think somebody would have brought that. Just the amount of times I brought that up, that there's been some sort of like racism to like come from his side of the internet. Never once did anybody bring that up. Like, oh yeah, he did properly apologize. He said like, I am sorry, and this, and he just left it alone. I just feel like I've known of him long enough to know it's never going to be a proper apology. It's gonna be a response. It is gonna be in the same style as his the last response video that he did, but it's not gonna be no proper apology.
I completely fumbled the ball, and everybody's calling me out for this, and 90% of it is right. So,
but I mean, the work done was, even though he was wrong, the work done in the arguments you present are Kumu's arguments.
True, I got a lot of the arguments from his video, especially the Pyro one, and that's the thing I've been criticized for. Like, I watch other people's videos, and I sometimes do take what they say, and then I'm thinking, do I even know, like, do I even have any of my real opinions? And I've been asking myself that a lot lately, because I guess my biggest fear is people rejecting the real me, and maybe if I follow in the footsteps of other people, I will know what I'm talking. Hang on, I'm all scatterbrained.
Yeah, take your time.
but yeah, I have been criticized in the past for that. And I've seen what's his face, H Bomber guy do a huge video on plagiarism and how YouTubers do it. I don't think I'm the only one who plagiarized. Like I've seen people plagiarize my points before, and it does annoy me when they don't link my video.
Sure, I mean, but you're the 200K plus channel, right?
Yeah, I am. I am.
I mean, that platform seems very important to you.
Well, it is. I mean, I've been working on it for years. Things I've worked on for years are very important to me.
I mean, do you feel like that's your validation?
Him as a content creator, yes. I'm like that's the only thing that he has going for himself. If there's anything else, what the next thing is probably his girlfriend, but his content creating, girlfriend, anything else afterwards.
My YouTube channel,
Hmm.
the audience.
Yeah.
I think it might be because this is I was isolated growing up. I didn't have a lot of friends around me. And I think I just crave approval from people.
I mean, it does sound, for lack of a better phrase, a bit grifty. That, you know, even with the anti-SJW stuff to the ACC, this is a place will accept me and can validate me, as opposed to somewhere where I have like a genuine interest. So for instance, with myself, there are certain things I'll cover, certain things I won't. Like with the Cinebear stuff, multiple people came to me and said, "Are you covering this? Are you talking about this?" And I said, "No, don't care how big a story it is." In the same way, I don't really care about the Minecraft stuff. It's too messy. There's too many moving parts. I don't care enough. And you know, I could have stayed covering the ACC and built like a solid ACC audience. I was very involved in a lot of the Mr. Beast stuff that happened very early on, and I've been involved in a lot of the Dogpack stuff that's happened. But I've never stuck to topics when I get bored. I just kind of do what I want. Whereas with yourself, it seems that you go, this is where the validation is. That's where I'm going to focus my attention.
Well, to be fair, it's not just a validation. I also get bored. Like I was getting validated with my Star Wars videos for a long time, and then I suddenly got bored. Like they were getting exhausting to make, and I just realized I needed to take a break from it. Actually, no. Now that you're bringing it up, I'm actually seeing it myself now because it was going great until it wasn't, and then I didn't return to talking about Star Wars, partially because I was bored, but also partially because I wasn't getting validated with them anymore. And then I tried to talk about reaction channels and other things I used to talk about to regain that validation I used to have.
But it's like it's not needed though. Like that's the thing where I'm like, yeah, I wasn't but the thing is this, I was social, but I was social with people that I felt comfortable being social with. So yeah, there was like, you know, I done probably met like well over 1,000 people from when I was in school. You know, probably I had to say out of all the people that I had met throughout my times from when I was like in school, I've talked to like very few of them. There's like very few kids that I talked to, and I barely can remember like anybody else's names and stuff. My thing is this. I'm like, yeah, I think any and everybody, they want some sort of validation on something. I feel like that's gonna be like one needed thing in your life. But when it comes down to just you want validation on something that's being said that's negative, people ain't gonna support you on that. I guess like, yeah, if they have them same views, but other than that, it's like you have to understand what's right and what's wrong. I feel like that's before you seek validation for people, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to understand like, okay, is this the right thing to talk about? Is this the wrong thing to talk about? It's the right thing to talk about. Cool. Then it's gonna be a lot easier to get validations from people. But if it's the wrong thing to talk about, then don't be surprised if people are gonna have an issue with the stuff that you're saying. I just, man, I swear it's like his thought process. I'm like, it is a strange thing, bro.
And those videos didn't do well because, well, those either people have talked about those topics better than I ever could, or those topics were dead. And then I also tried to talk about what I wanted to talk about because it worked with the zombie video, and I tried to do the same thing with the multiverse. It didn't work. The BlackRock video, one of the very few videos I did this year, that did good. And then I tried to do the same with 2 other videos, and it didn't do good. So I stopped that style of content. And yeah, now that I'm thinking it over, I think that's the main thing I crave is validation.
Do you know, I'm going to tell you an anecdote because it's going to be in the video. I'm aware that you were worried that the ACC girlies were going to go after you. And, you know, you seem to make allusions to this in the commentary video.
Well, to be fair, they've been going after me. They're not just women. There's yeah.
Do you know that there was only one video planned on you, and it was a defense video?
No.
I mean, because again, it'll be in the video. The only person making a video on you was Ponder, and it was to defend you from the previous accusations.
Which previous accusations?
The SA one. You know, it was to go over that old drama. So I mean, I kind of want to, and I'm no fan of Ponder by any means, but I think it's probably worth knowing ahead of time the kind of situations you put yourself. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I zoned out because I was thinking, what's the SA one?
Oh, the one where they claimed the one where they claimed you'd sexually assaulted like a minor, who didn't exist.
Oh, that's not SAing, that's grooming.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I was confused.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, sorry. It all gets a bit muddled with this many fucking grooming and assault allegations. But yeah, that was the only video being made on you, and then you came out and took a shot, and the video was cancelled.
It's like, yeah, what you gotta say about that?
Well, there were other videos from ACC members made on me. Granted, it was mostly the smaller ones.
Well, yeah, they're tiny channels, and also not just tiny, because again, we're a tiny channel, but I'm talking about tiny channels with absolutely no influence. I mean, TMossBoss, as far as I can see, is a fairly large channel with, again, no influence.
Yeah,
you know,
I do. Like, I did love my back and forth with him, and I guess I was trying to recapture that, and he gave me a reason to, but now that's scrapped because I realized I don't want to talk about drama anymore. It's destroying my life. It's ruining like every aspect of me, and
I personally think the reason. So the video that he was going to do, because I remember him talking about it in the Lyle Convoy call. So there was a video that he uploaded. It was a YouTube short video that he uploaded where it was explaining how EDP could have gotten away from like the whole pedophile stuff, right? I seen that video. I guess the video that it was a part of, but my thing is this. I seen that particular video, and I'm not thinking along the lines like, oh, this is probably a joke. This is probably, you uploaded a video explaining how to get away with being a pedophile, and I'm supposed to look at that as a joke. And the funny thing is that anybody that I brought that up to, whether it was friends, whether it was family, whether it was content creators, the thing is this, they've all had the same reaction that I did. Nobody is not going to look at that video and be like, oh, well, this video has to be an out of context video. Why would you upload it in that, like, I guess in that way? So yeah, there's like, if you're doing it to promote a video, I'm like, there are so many other different ways you could have promoted that video, but it's like you promote it in a way, then that's the thing that he does afterwards. So I call him out on that. So because I did do this video where I was like, just a robot might be a pedo, and so then instead of being like, hey, like that video was taken out of context, this, that, blah blah blah, no, he doubles down on it, and he's talking about like cracking these jokes about being a groomer and stuff. So my thing is this, right? When you sit down and you think about that, yeah, maybe he is all like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just trying to be done with all the drama stuff. How can you properly respond to that? The only reason why he would have responded to that, because he know that it would have sent hate to my channel. But other than that, he's like, oh, if he saw this whole like, I ain't trying to do that no more, then yeah, it's just one of those things. But people, overall, the point that I was trying to make with that particular video is that there are going to be people with and without kids. They are going to see that video and they're going to feel a certain way about it. That's not a video that you upload on the YouTube. All right. What my thing is this. What video, even if I don't have no influence on my channel, what videos you think is going to be on the front page of YouTube? What videos you think is going to trend on YouTube? One of my reaction videos where it could be me reacting to some body cam stuff, or even some of my most viewed reaction videos where it's reacting to McJuggernuggets, McNasty, Twitch clip compilations, stuff like that, or my voiceover work. My thing is this, all right? I might not have no influence, but at least I ain't gotta upload videos like that. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, man, but no, that's the funny thing. People always be asking me that, like, why is it that I have all these subscribers but no views? As just a robot, that question. Why does he have all these subscribers but no views? Why does his videos from like back then have all these different dislikes? It's like what was going on during that time frame. Yeah, it's funny how like he says things but he tries to leave out stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's people, they always like to say that or talk on that, and I'm like, well, my channel probably would have been in a good state, but for 4 years straight, I was getting like dislikes probably range, if I had to like add up all the different dislikes that I got throughout all the videos, because if you guys know me, I upload a lot and stuff, so it's like, yeah, you sit down and think about it, I upload 15 videos in a day, all them videos during that time frame getting rated with dislikes. So it's one of those, how did all that happen? What led to all them dislikes? It wasn't like it was because of my wrongdoing. I don't even be putting myself out there like that to be uploading videos to get on people's bad side and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, but I know a lot of people always be asking that, like, oh, how do you have 100,000 subscribers? If you look at my most viewed videos, that's why I have 100,000 subscribers. It's really up to them people at the end of the day if they going to continue watching my. And there have been people that have like continue even after watching the one video that's blown up on my channel. They've seen other videos where it's like, oh, okay, I'm a fan of this guy now. But it's like, yeah, it's a slow process. At the end of the day, I ain't even tripping about it. You know, it's like, it's one of those people, they love bringing that up. They love talking about it. But I'm like, yeah, you know, when you go through 4 years of just nonstop dislikes across your channel, having it where there's like a bunch of people making videos about you, where it's putting your videos further and further down in the algorithm, that's why. So yeah, it's what. But prior, before that, my channel was doing perfectly fine. Like, I remember back then where it was like, yeah, my videos, it would, I have to say, like, if I were to upload like 10 videos, half of those videos are doing good, you know. So yeah, there were some videos that didn't really do all that good, but I had to say I probably would have had double the amount of subscribers. I probably would have been in a much more better state when it comes to content creating. But you know, when you spend like 4 years just dealing with nonstop dislikes, hate videos, hate comments, all that stuff that puts your videos further and further down in the algorithm, that's why. So anyways,
I think it's making me into a worse person. I know I need to stop.
I mean, what possessed you to go to Chud Logic of all people? And I like Chud, don't get me wrong, but like, if I was looking for somebody to kind of side up in a drama with me, or like if I needed somebody who I thought I could get, or I could use a platform for, to like just even plant a seed of an idea, he would be the fucking last person I'd pick.
Okay, 2 reasons, but after this, I need to go for a little bit because I need to take a dump.
it was because he was like, he thought that Chud Logic could help him out and stuff, and then it just ended up backfiring. So he is gonna try to explain it in a way where it's like good, it just sounds good coming from his mouth, but in reality, yeah, he was trying to use Chud Logic's platform, I guess, to boost his platform or to help him out, but it's like, bruh, nah, that's not gonna happen. So
Sure.
nah.
Yeah, okay, so it might just be gas. It should just take 5 minutes. So don't like turn off the call or anything. I'll just mute myself and.
That's fine. I'll grab it. I'll grab a drink while you're doing it. It's fine.
Yeah. So one is I was suggested that he was more fair to Zinni than anyone else. He seemed more skeptical. And 2, Chud did a video on me back in, as he said it, his soy days. And out of any video I've ever seen on me, I thought it was the most fair and balanced. So I thought, oh, this seems like a guy who's fair and balanced. And you know, maybe he is, but he probably, like, when I got onto that stream and I saw how angry he was, I realized, oh no, I messed up.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my fights with Chud. He's not a particularly enjoyable person to have a beef with. He's a very, very effective commentator.
Well, yeah, he seems like to be in that same debate me bro sphere as Vosh.
Well, he came from the politics sphere, yeah.
Yeah, and even when it comes to the anti-SJW stuff, I actually started doing that because I wanted to get as far away from like the DeviantArt ranters as I could, because they would like have panic attacks over someone
That's the thing. He didn't even get into details on why Chud Logic was upset, because I think it was like some sort of messages, calls. It was something where he seen it. He realized why Just the Robot had accepted a call with him. And that's why he was, because yeah, he could play that whole game like, oh, I thought he was a fair individual. No, you just thought that he was gonna help you out in this situation. And it's like, Chad's like, nah, that's not happening. Not on this channel. He's like, maybe in a different, not even in a different day or space. I just feel like that Chud Logic, I seen the content that Chud Logic had uploaded. He don't come off as somebody that's gonna help somebody that's going through the crap that Just the Robot is going through. So that's why I was like, yeah, nah, that's not gonna happen. So
gendering someone they've just got into a call with, so I was trying to get as far away from them as I could, and then Doodle Tone showed up, and I was like, oh, they found me again. And it does. This is where, like, this is where I think like my path downward kind of started. But I can't think straight because like I need to take a dump, so I'll be
Go
back.
to the bathroom. I'll grab a drink as well.
That's
I'll see you in
crazy.
a couple of minutes.
Okay.
There's that.
And back.
Oh, same.
Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't very much. I've been I have this drama has stressed me out so much. I haven't been
Oh, I thought
eating.
he was talking about the dump. I was like, nah. I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm like, we talking on the content creating stuff. You whatever is going on in the bathroom, you keep that amongst yourself. I ain't trying to hear
That
that.
much at all. Only today have I actually had a decent meal. And the good news is I lost 10 pounds, so that's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
I'm like, bro, why are you talking about so he is talking about that. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah.
So moving back on to sort of some of the topics around
It's like I don't care about that.
kind of the people you've interacted with. I mean, you've sort of had a solid place in the community. Now, like the ACC, I'd argue is pretty dead at this point. It's not actually much left of it.
Well, after all the dramas I've had with people in there, and then Akumu coming in and shotgunning a whole bunch all at once, and then Peaches and Doodletones leaving, that like yeah, it kind of just destroyed it. But there's other things that I was in that were dead. Anti-SJW community.
Yeah, that certainly died a death. Do you think that your want to go back to politics is basically a sort of like I want to rekindle that, to refine that audience, or at least recapture a section of it?
No, well, maybe a section at most, but I'm trying to do it more in the style of like how JREG does it. Like going over like the different groups, like it's going over the different the political spectrum of global warming is not the same as Anita Sarkeesian doesn't understand feminism or whatever.
Sure, I mean everyone made one of those back in the day. So I guess like in the fallouts of all of this, like you say that you've been off Twitter, you've been off YouTube. What sort of voices are you hearing? I mean, I suppose on the other side, I'd kind of be interested if you had any questions for me about how this is seen from the outside.
No, I've been told by other people like what's going on, and I'm planning to work on an apology about this. Like I got the script started, but I want to make sure I'm not pointing fingers or trying to throw someone else under the bus because I think this is a mess up on my part, and that's probably because it is. So I want to make sure I'm actually remorseful, and I am. I do think I really messed this up.
I mean, with that, I mean, my view on apology videos are generally a waste of time. But if you feel like it's something that's important for you to do, I won't tell you not to.
Well,
yeah.
to be fair, so far only you and Lio have told me not to. Aside from random people in the audience. But yeah, I've been really dragged through the mud for this, and I don't want to quit YouTube, but at the same time, a part of me does want to quit YouTube because I'm like, what am I even doing?
Do you think that it's, because again, like I suppose what I'm alluding to with, and this is broadly what I'm going to say in my video, that there is a wider pattern here. And like, while the Cinebear stuff is sort of the most, probably the most egregious example because of who Cinebear is and how fucking gigantic a fuck up you made, but it's by no means isolated. Does that make sense to you?
I suppose so. Like anyone who uploads on YouTube, nor what they do, you eventually can find a pattern of behavior. I mean, I did the same thing with Daft Pina. Actually, that's another good example of almost no one was calling Daft out until like only small people were. It was like I was the first big guy to ever call Daft out, as far as I'm aware, aside from like people on Twitter, but that was it.
Sure, but I mean, like again, we all have patterns. Obviously, humans are creatures of habit. But I suppose more what I'm pointing to is the fact that, when you're looking at the Cinebear stuff, if you're talking about an apology video, what are you actually apologizing for? Like, where do you feel your fuck up with this is?
Well, first I want to explain that my I'm dyslexic and my roommate wasn't home yet before the video got leaked to help me look over the doc, and I didn't get into call with Jack and Eno to get their side of things. Because I did want to do a good job with this, and I shouldn't have panicked and uploaded this draft, because I did have another draft before I talked to Cine, and then my mind was changed on it, and my mind probably would have been changed again if I talked to Eno and Jack and had my roommate look over my script. but I panicked, uploaded it, and I didn't want to explain like how I was want to explain how someone else told me other things Cine has did, and I understood now why people were upset. I will bring those things up, and I want to tell people like, no, I was not into Cine romantically. I do this with everybody else, and this is not a defense for myself. If anything, this makes me look worse. Let's be honest here. This makes me look worse, but I want to be transparent with people.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, again, that's like the how you talk to other people, how you interact with other creators is certainly part of that. I suppose the question is, and again, I'm not trying to get you to apologize to me. I don't care. To that degree, it's not, you've not done anything that I'm like, oh, I apologize. It's more, when you're reflecting on this, I kind of want to know where the thought process lies, because my impression is that, this is a serious fuck up, but it comes back to that, how will you feel in 6 months, 12 months? And,
exactly. That is a very good point. I'm afraid I'll relapse back into my bad habits. And sometimes I feel like I should just quit YouTube and join the military, like a place where there's constant structure, or something like that.
I do not trust just the we might as well give this country away then. If it was led up to just a robot to serve and protect this country, no. No. No, like I know people could probably be saying that, like, oh, I'm jumping the gun as I say this. I'm like, I would trust Stevie Wonder to serve and protect my country. I'm like, at least I can see him seeing the country being in a better place if he were to step in. I ain't even trying to crack no jokes when saying that. I'm being dead serious. You give Stevie Wonder an assault rifle and put him in a military suit, and I'm like, yeah, that we have a better chance with that, because I'm like, I just nah. Ain't no way, bro. There is no way possible I trust him serving the country.
Because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing most of the time, and I think a large part of that is due to my autism and dyslexia and the fact that I was homeschooled all my life, but I also don't know about that. Like, would I've, even if I didn't have autism and went to school and had a normal life, would I still be like how I am now? Obviously not exactly, but you get what I'm saying.
So he pretty much said that he's all like, yeah, the autism, dyslexia, all that stuff, there ain't no excuse. He's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. He's like, even if I did have a good life, I still do the same thing that that's even more so of a reason why you don't need to be involved. It's like, you don't know how to manage an audience. You want to lead an audience into destruction, and there ain't even no reason to lead the audience into that line of content creating and stuff. So yeah, to me, it just don't make no sense, like, why he does the things that he do. It's like, there's no reason for it. You had this thing is this. There's people that had a bad life, they still make the best out of it. People that have a good life, they still gonna make the best out of it. The thing is this. It don't even matter what life you had. You're trying to make something, you're trying to make the worst out of it, and it's like, for what? I'm saying, everybody goes through their stuff, everybody has their problems, everybody got things that still affects them till this day. There's no reason for them to bring that anger out on other people and stuff. So
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, is this like, was this nature or nurture the reason as to why I act like this? And I don't know what I'm doing. I do crave validation. I want to be upfront about that, because this whole backlash did make me really reflect on who I am as a person. I think the main thing I've always wanted is to figure out where I'm messing up in life, like what's wrong with me. And I suppose to an extent, everybody is searching for that.
Sure. Humans want to reflect.
Yeah, I just want, but I realize that I need to stop this, because if I know if I do relapse and I do this again, like I go back to like making drama videos, the next time I get backlash, it's going to be even worse. Like, oh, Jar's doing it again. Let's bring up everything else he did on top of that. And it has made me nearly like,
and again, the only reason people haven't done that to you is because they haven't been able to, because the information on you is schizophrenic. Like the picture of who you are, despite how long you've been around, isn't solid anywhere. So I want to be clear, this is one of the reasons that I'm making the video I am, because the thing I heard called out for most was, well, who is Jar? how do you get a profile of this guy? Like, what dramas has he been involved in? And actually, like, I know that there's another very good video essayist who is looking at doing a video on you probably next year to kind of timeline things out just because of how long things take. But, you know, the next time you're embroiled in something, it won't be, well, who is Jar? Like, and looking at kind of like 20 clips of videos from Prison Make Luke, or trying to find stuff in an archive. There's probably going to be a lot more solid information on who you are for people to kind of grasp onto.
Yeah, because sometimes maybe that is a defense mechanism. I do that to throw people off. I don't, so maybe subconsciously, I don't know, because I always would find a group like the anti-SJW community, and I would be like, yeah, I'm going to stay here for a while. Then it starts dying. I'm like, oh, well, guess I got to move on and do something else. Or, hell, even before anti-SJWs, it was anti-reaction videos. Like, I hate everything, Grade A, Under A, and a bunch of other people were talking about this, but anti-reaction video content, it's nothing you can make.
Like I said that before. It's all like that he had seen those videos. It was all like, oh, well, it's doing well for them, so I might as well do it myself. And it's like, that's not how you go about being a content creator. You go about being a content creator. Yeah, if you see somebody else do a style of videos or whatever, because I know people probably like throw me into the mix about like, well, how did you get influenced into doing reaction videos? Yeah, I've seen videos of people doing reaction videos, but I'm like, oh, let me do the same exact reaction video that they're doing, and then like, you know, go from there and stuff. Yeah, I did get into reaction videos, but I wanted to do reaction videos the way that I did it. So yeah, you got those people that make a bunch of different facial expressions. You got people that got like a funny laugh or something. Me, I'm being myself when I do a reaction video. I'm not trying to be like Jinx. I'm not trying to be like CJ So Cool. If we even name off some modern people that do reaction videos or people from back then, every time when I've done a reaction video, it's always been in the style that I want to do a reaction video. So yeah, that it's something where I'm like, I knew that for a while now, but anyways.
Channel out of fully. The closest one I can think of is Jack's Films, and he still does other stuff. So after that, I was like, oh my god, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. And then I was like, maybe I'll move on and do the next thing, anti-SJWs. I shouldn't have said, no, not exhausted and tired. It died, I moved on to anti-SJWs. It died, I moved on to the ACC. It's basically dead. I tried to do the anti-woke stuff. Eventually, I got bored and didn't get as much validation, although I've only didn't receive validation on one video. That Velma video went over very well, but those videos take so much energy to make.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're a lot more work than sort of just picking easy points with drama in many ways. Like media analysis takes time. So I guess when looking at where you're situated, like right now, you know, again, more people are going to make content on you. You're a hot topic to an extent. The Cine Bear stuff is going to continue as well, most probably. But you know, there will be that constant question. Have you considered how you're going to react to, I guess, almost like videos like mine? Because, like, again, I want to get my facts straight, but you know, I'm going to be fair to you in what I present. Like, I think in one of the sections I've just finished, it's, you know, I'm fair to kind of the stuff that's made about the racism allegations, that they're taken from a period in your history where they make sense. It's not that you're racist; it's that you're making jokes within a sphere. But I mean, how are you going to feel about those sort of things existing about you?
Not great. Not great, but it's a lot better than you know, theorizing if I was trying to meet up with Cindy and rape her.
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly some of the behavior here, and I know I've sort of got your takes on VidCon. I've got other people's as well. Are weird. And some of that can, I think, easily be put down to your autism and, you know, homeschooling. I think I've heard that as a defense, but it's also, you know, I know a lot of autistic people. I'm on the internet, and you know, this is, you know, I think it's interesting, like with the Bo Black's drama,
And it's like they don't carry on like you. You definitely a different breed.
kind of blowing over because
It's more so my homeschooling. Like my mother. Do you know what chick tracks are?
no.
They're these little. You might know them if I describe them. They're like little mini Bible comic books.
Oh, like yes, yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, about the size of a cell phone. You know what I mean? Yeah, my mom was into those chick tracks, and Chick believed in things like that Harry Potter would actually teach you how to cast dark magic, and that the Pope was a shape-shifting lizard. Actually, I'm not sure with that last one, but the first one is definitely true. And I had a very warped perception of reality the way I was raised.
If okay, so let me just try to piece that together. I hope that's not something that his mom had told him, because I'm if I'm that's nah. Let me just go back and make sure I had heard that
That Harry
correctly.
Potter would actually teach you how to cast dark magic, and that the Pope was a shape-shifting lizard. Actually, I'm not sure with that last one, but the first one is definitely true. And I had a very warped perception of reality the way I was raised. Believe it or
I
not, this is
swear,
going to be really,
man.
really sad. Out of all my siblings, I actually turned out the best.
That's kind of
Debatable.
concerning. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Debatable. I'm like, I will have to meet his other siblings, but that's definitely, because I think I just heard something not too long ago where they were so like he was like body shaming his sister. So yeah, I'm like, and then I guess arguing about although she's religious or he's religious, whatever the case may be. But yeah, was arguing about her with religion and about her body, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm like, just with some of this stuff I done heard and seen from you, yeah, debatable. All right,
Do
so
you,
Yes.
okay. I mean, outside of this, you've got a girlfriend, you've got your roommate,
he
and you
said,
seem to
yeah,
have
let's just go ahead and change topic. He's like talking about the Pope being the shape shifting lizard. I'm like, that's a new one. I ain't never heard that before.
quite a um. I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. I'm not even sure codependent, but dependent relationship on your roommate.
I do. Like, once my last girlfriend left me and his girlfriend left him, this was during the pandemic, I believe. We moved in together, and we actually didn't get into any relationships because we just had too much fun hanging out and doing stuff together. Neither of us are gay, by the way, or even bi.
Do
And
you I mean, how are you both doing all right? Like I'm assuming you're making money from the channel and everything else. I'm assuming you're stable.
recently, within this year, not really. I had to go get a real job, and but he's doing so much better. Like, he got his high-paying job finally. But I'm not going to go into any more detail about that
Sure,
because he
yeah,
likes to keep private life private.
yeah.
But yeah, after like and after everything that has happened recently, I do want to still stay on YouTube. I don't want to run away. I don't want to be a coward. I want to, but I don't want to go back to drama. But
It's
I
like it
need.
has nothing to do with you being a coward. It's like if you were to leave YouTube, people are not going to be mad about that. People are not going to be like, "Oh, he chickened out, he left, he did this, he did that." If anything, people going to want you to go seek out help. I'm like, yeah, it's like this might be a good thing for you. So no, ain't nobody looking at you as a coward. They're like, okay, he did something that he needed to do. I'm like, if he left, he left, bro. There's been so many times I ain't seen where people then left Twitch streaming, left being a TikToker, left being a YouTuber. They're not being looked at as a coward. Like there was one friend where I remember she was she was like heavily into Twitch streaming. And I be would stream like all hours of the night, all hours of the day. Like there's a few friends I had that was like that. They have real life responsibilities. They got things going on in their life to where they're like, yeah, content creating ain't a priority right now. I'd have to, put that aside. If I come back to it, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm not looking at any of them people different because I mean, yeah, there's some where it's like, yeah, life has just hit them and they're like, hey, I gotta take a step away, take a break, whatever. There's some where it's like they got kids, so yeah, they can't really focus on content creating at the moment. What else? Yeah, it's like there's just at times where it's like, yeah, you gotta step away. Even I've thought of like stepping away for a little bit, and just kind of like this was at a point in time where I just wasn't going. I was going through it with some personal life things, and yeah, I was like, nah, I think I might have to step away for a little bit. I might have to take me a break, but it's something where I'm like I don't see how it really affected my content creating like career and stuff, the personal issues, and so that's why I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do so. I'm like, I mean, if I really need to do it, then I'm like, then yeah, I'll go through. But I'm like, let me just see what happens if I were to just kind of like slowly get back into content creating, and it ended up working out in the long run. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, but if I'm in his shoes, I'm definitely stepping away because I'm like, you've did way too many wrong things throughout your career to where that might be your next best option is to step away from content creating. So
Need to reflect for longer. I can't just be like, make an apology video in 7 days and be like, well, I'm now going to go back to, I'm just going to review media, and then in 6 months to 8 months, I'm going to be like, haha, time to destroy everyone who went after me. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and I
but it's
mean,
most likely going to
yeah,
happen.
I mean it's gonna be a difficult one. I think again, most of the ACC people who I've spoken to don't really want to talk about you, even now. Um, you know, I know I've been told things that I've been asked not to publish, kind of just because they don't want a reaction out of you. So I've got that picture from them while going, but this is off the record. And I've interviewed at least I think one person who didn't want to be mentioned at all. Um, I suppose the question there is, I don't think you should quit YouTube or anything else. I don't think aside from people who actually groom kids, I don't think they should get off. But it's kind of interesting because you made the allusion to Coyote, and I was thinking the same thing. I mean, does it occur to you that this is more or less, it didn't get to go as far, but this is more or less a Coyote Lovely situation?
I understand why people get that impression. The problem is I talk to everyone like that. Coyote only has spoken to 2 people like that, as far as I'm aware, and Coyote did things like hire an artist to make pictures of him licking Sappho's butthole, and the most I've done is, hey, Cindy, want to see my cock, and send a picture of a chicken. I think it's like, and also like,
well, even if it's to a lesser extent, because we can argue the semantics, but you built a friendship with Cinebear, which for whatever reason, Coyote, this is how it started with Coyote. He went to try and get Sappho, but ended up building that friendship and then relationship with them.
Well, here's the thing: if people, there's no way we can know for sure if I would go further or not. I'm going to say I wasn't, but I can understand if people would think I would have gone further with it. The thing is, I've talked to almost everyone like this, and I need to stop it. It's an issue I have. Thank God I'm not doing it with you right now, because I know I need to avoid that. I'm not saying, here's my cock and sending you hey, why don't you see a dick pic, and I send you a picture of Dick Grayson.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely odd. I can see it with like between friends or something, and everyone sends each other edgy jokes. It's just you seem not to have any clear boundaries. And like while that behavior has made people uncomfortable, which is something that you've been made aware of, and I know you've been made aware of, I am from that side much more concerned. Concerned's the wrong word. I suppose like my focus is on the fact that when you've argued or fought with people or had these little sort of spurg out moments, how charged those are. Like the stuff with Mally is charged. Without I know you say it's a joke, but you can see how it is with like, oh well, I've not got a gun kind of thing. When you're saying to somebody who doesn't want to meet up with you, you can see how that comes across.
I'm now I can. It's
that after he's been called out for it by a lot of people. But let's say if nobody wasn't talking about it and things, and then she called him out, he'd be like, oh, well, nobody's not talking about it, so therefore it doesn't matter. And it's like, bro, like I said, his thought process is all the way off. And that's why you don't need to, if it takes you having a big platform where it's like, everybody's listening to you and they're not listening to anybody else, and you're clearly doing wrong, and you're like, okay, well, let's take a vote here. I'm like, fans, do you think I'm right? They all raise their hands, say that you're right. It's like, do you guys think I'm wrong? Nobody's raising their. He's like, oh well, therefore I'm right. You can't go about your career like that though. And that's how he's always went about his career, whether it was one person, 10 people, or 200,000 people. You can't go based off of a crowd where they're enabling you to carry on how you've been for like the past however many years and stuff. Like, no, there are at times where you have to sit down and think for yourself. If you claim that it didn't feel good to do the things that you did and say the things that you said, why did you continue? So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you have to understand your fans are enablers. It's well, I guess the current fans, but yeah, the fans that jump ship, they realize that there's something wrong here with this picture. they use their own brains. They wasn't all like, oh, well, let me wait to see. No, they realized that something was wrong, and they're like, I can't be a fan of this guy no more. So, anyways.
I'm just really horrifically terrible talking over text. I'm bad enough talking through voice chat, but over text, it's even worse. And to me, that just came across like what I was trying to say was like the common idiom of I'm not holding a gun up to your head.
You can use like the voice to speech or voice to text where it's like you talk to your phone and then it's like, yeah, you just were like, hey, how's your day going, and then it sends that out or whatever.
Like I've heard people say that, like, bro, chill, I'm not holding a gun up to your head or anything.
Sure, okay, I can see how that could be muddled in your head. Well, I think I've pretty much got everything I wanted from this. I think it's giving me the clarifications I need. I will probably put bits of this into the video. I'm not going to throw nearly 2 hour call into a video and just publish it.
You can link the full thing down below in the description.
Yeah, I could. I'd sort of I might go over it on stream or with somebody potentially.
Yeah, but I will say this drama did make me take a hard look at myself because I want to do better. I want to be better. Like Lio gave me suggestions, the 2 suggestions. A, change who you are as a person, or B, just own who you are. The problem is I don't think I know who I am.
Yeah, I think that requires a bit more reflection. Like if you're a media analysis YouTuber who's sort of like existing in a sphere all to themselves, essentially, it doesn't really matter. But when you're a drama commentator, and part of the reason, despite the fact that I'm an asshole a lot of the time, I think people talk to me, is because I just tell people what I'm gonna do. I'm completely honest about it. Like I've not liked you. I've not said I'm gonna make a defense video. I'm just gonna be fair. There is plenty of things in there that are gonna be critical of you. But at the same time, when I say that I'm having a call with you so I can clarify things and make sure they are clarified from your side, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. But when people are positioned against you, Jar, they don't know what your long-term actions are. And I will be honest, multiple people who I've spoken to have said, if I make this video on you, you will come after me in 6 months, a year, which is, from my perspective,
okay.
fine.
Here's the thing: there's no way I can. There's like 50 videos on.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like this is no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you will, and I want to make it clear. It actually, from my perspective, I'd view it as content investment. I wouldn't mind in the slightest. But what I'm trying to highlight to you is that's how people view you. Like what's saved you from fights with people isn't just that you win. It's that people are so worried about how you will act about this in several years' time when you can take a shot, that they'd rather not deal with you at all. And they, it's interesting. I spoke to somebody who knows the ACC. I spoke to Toastify. I did a quick interview with him.
I've heard of him.
It's interesting because, I was like, well, how do you view Jar? And he was like, well, kind of a snake in the grass. Somebody who, will probably say the right things at the right time, and then kind of like glide off the kind of public opinion, which is already in place for him. But like whenever he's sort of like close with people, it's very, I think I use the word fickle. And that's probably something you should reflect on, dude, because
I am reflecting on that. I apologized to my roommate about how I've acted towards him sometimes, and he hugged me. We're tight, but I do want, like, I don't want to be seen as a snake in the grass. I really don't. That's not a good image. But Lio did tell me something that really made me think, and he's told me, I don't think you know what a friend is. And I'm starting to ask myself, do I actually know what a friend is? Yeah, I know my roommate, my friend, and that's about it.
You can't. The thing is this: you can't have it where your friends, like, you become friends with them, but there's a price that they got to pay. Like, they sign this imaginary contract, and then they don't know until it's like, oh, well, now you got to do this for me. And it's like, no, bruh, that's not how a friendship works. So
I'd ask that question because, it's there's a petulantness to your interactions that is quite weird to behold. Like even when with your DMs with Goblin, it's like, well, I guess you're not going to come and help me fight in my comments, and it's like, I mean,
Yeah, I'm shit at debating people in the comments, and I was hoping that they could help me, and they were like, no, and I was.
But, I mean, my question would be, why would you bother? Like, look, I have had some very large people's audiences come for me in the last few months.
Did?
And yeah, I had Dan TDM's audience come from me. I've had the whole Dogpack crowd come for me. On my Dogpack video, the like to dislike comment, like my dislike ratio is something like 52%.
Okay, I'm going to be 100% real here. I don't know who any of those people are.
That's fine. It's a it's a fairly big people, like major current dramas. And Nux Taku is another one. His audience has come after us.
I know who he is.
Yeah,
I know who he is.
he came after us really hard. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even react to it. I don't care. I don't understand. I don't understand why at your size you do. I don't understand why it would matter to you.
That's a very good question. As when I was small, like I know this is going to sound weird, but I think I cared less when I was small. I think I cared more as I got bigger because people would bring up arguments
he
from like
when he was
years.
small, but I'm like, meanwhile, you were putting yourself out there where you were trying to get into it with any and everybody that you possibly could. Because my thing is this: there was no reason for you to make that video on me about when I was defending people that do reaction videos. You talking about it's from an argument perspective. That's why you did it, because it was a bad argument. But it's like it wasn't an argument in the first place. That's why it was a bad argument. Like, no, if I could just sit down and talk about that real quick. He looks at a lot of different things as an argument, and I'm like, fam, everything is not an argument. It doesn't require another thing to follow up or be said afterwards. All I just wanted to do was say my piece and go on about my business. That's it. There was never an argument in the first place. You turned it into an argument, though. So yeah, it's to me, I'm like, that's all that you did when you were a small content creator. My thing is this: maybe a lot of them videos might not be up. Maybe he's never really taken down any videos. I don't know. But my thing is this: I just remember when I very first had like seen anything just a robot related, it was a lot of negativity. And I'm like, well, I see how this situation is like overall what kind of guy this is. Not even gonna feed into it. And that's why I responded the way that I did. How did you view that? You viewed this like, oh, he wants to argue now. No, I didn't care about the situation, but you did. So yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, nah, bruh. You can say like, oh, I care more about stuff now than I did when I was. No, it's the opposite. You cared a lot more about things back then than you do now. I feel like now you were just careless, but back then it was like, yeah, dude, you were careless, but I feel like that it was more so just to get your name out there. They got to a point where you got careless because you're like, oh, well, I have this big platform. Nobody can do anything to me. I can say whatever and do whatever, and people are gonna support me regardless. And it's like it don't work like that. It does not work.
Years
like
ago,
that.
and I looked at Dream and how things with him piled up, and I was like, smash it right now before it gets worse. And I guess I tried to put out so many fires that too much brush has grown, and now there's a fire I can't put out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's and again, the people who've come after me have like million sub YouTubers, and not just that's their fan bases and things.
But well, to be fair, I don't think sub count matters as much as it used to, because like I'm gonna be honest here. I'm more scared if I got into drama with someone. I would be more scared of your audience than someone like Boogity2988 or the Amazing Atheist. Like, you're actually scarier than the two of them, and they have way higher sub counts than you. But the thing is, their audience is completely dead.
Yeah, it's not even just about audience as well. It's not convincing an audience that matters. It's it's funny. This drama really highlights something. It's not about convincing an audience, because your entire audience could be completely on your side with Cinebear. They could be completely on your side with everything. And you yourself have said you've got a toxic audience that's quite loyal. But despite that, you are somebody who a commentator 1%, not even that, of your size can come for, and they will do actual damage to you. Not like to your channel, but you personally, mentally. And I mean, I think that's, again, something you should consider as a YouTuber, because
I'm going to. I think you are right, because like even people with dead channels, because like one issue I have is I'm not doing this anymore, but like I was convinced that to like listen to everything people say about me, and I was like, but I can debunk this. I need to. And at first I would put it off for a long time, and eventually I would be like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this now, just to like get out of sight, out of mind. And
I mean, that's what people want. Like people who want this kind of drama. Like I'll be like completely transparent with you. Like, because somebody came to me recently and said, Crystal Flame hates you and is plotting your downfall. I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting for it. I can't wait.
Yours?
Oh yeah, Crystal fucking hates me. I destroyed her career. So
well,
but for somebody like me, I want that. And you're fighting with people who aren't worried about your response. They're waiting for it.
Well, to be fair, I did at first want that. Like, I was like, oh, I want them. I want them to try. But then after having several. I think it was the Toby drama with Prismate Luke that changed things for me, because I was like, that was a really close call. Because what people forget is that Peaches got, even now, Cindy actually hasn't received as much backlash as Peaches. Like, the likes to dislikes ratio is actually better on Cindy's first response than Peach's first response. Can you believe that?
Well, I can, but also
It's like, who cares? Like, that's the thing. It's like, so if what? If Cinnabare, she had like more likes than dislikes. Yeah, let's say she had like 200 dislikes, but she had like 1 million likes across her across the video where she was defending herself. It's like, does that make her situation right? That's the thing. I'm telling you, just a robot worries way too much about views, subscribers, likes and dislikes. And I'm like, fam, none of that stuff matters. Like, you have to understand, YouTube was created in 2005. So there were all of these years of stuff going down where it's like, do you think they were worried about how much likes or dislikes, or even back before YouTube? But it's like a person, how many fans they have. Because I think, didn't they say, was it Ted Bundy? It was one of them crazy murderer people and things. But they have fans. It did make what they did right, though. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you worry way too much about likes and dislikes. And I'm like, Brad, none of that stuff matters. Like, stop mentioning likes and dislikes.
I think the difference is that
like, that's
Peaches
crazy.
is a massive content creator that people want to interact with. The animation meme community is completely like, even by the standards of the ACC, the animation meme community is an unhinged shit show. So
yeah, I try to avoid them. I just saw, like, obviously, for once I didn't, and it blew up in my face. But yeah, like, when I see people like when that happened to me, when I almost got, like, there was a possible chance I could have received more backlash than Peaches, I got scared, because I was like, oh my god, that amount of hate could have leaked into my real life. And this amount of hate I'm getting now also could leak into my real life, but I highly doubt it will, but we'll just have to wait and see. But the thing is, I think there's an old Chinese saying, one often meets his destiny.
And I think that's like, if any of the stuff that he's been through, if it did leak into his real life, because that's what it has me thinking, like, his like friends and family, people that know him. Or my thing is this, probably maybe his family might not care, but I feel like it would definitely be some stuff like, imagine those coworkers at his like former jobs and stuff. Imagine if they were to see any of the videos of just a robot. Yeah, let's say they it was like a group, like all of them, they still friends, they cool with each other, or it's just even if one of them had did it, but it, yeah, put out who he really was. I feel like that's when it would get him, that's what would get him to quit content creating. If it was like some people from like his IRL, like, like just people he actually knows, I feel like if they were to come out and start doing videos on him, I'll like, no, like, I really know just a robot, I worked with this guy. I think it would be stuff like that that would get him to quit content creating. So
on the road he takes to avoid it, and I think that's me. I think I was trying to avoid something like this happening at all cost, and now that it's happened, it hurts, it sucks, but I don't think it's going to be the end of me. And I think I should just reflect, make my apology video, then just focus on media.
Yeah, I mean, do what you have to do. But yeah, I don't think you should stop making content. I'd never say that. But okay, I think that is everything. Thank you for the conversation. I do appreciate it. I'm glad I've been able to clarify some things and also get just a better impression of you. That's helpful to me. Again, my video is not going to be favorable to you, and I'm going to laugh at you, because that's the sort of creator I am. But I will.
Yeah.
I will bring in what you've said for this to try and make it as accurate as possible, because I think that's the fair thing to do.
That's understandable, and I knew eventually one day this was going to happen, and I am surprisingly, I'm really happy with how many people are reaching out, like, to talk to me, and like, a lot of people aren't being mean to me, and it blows my mind how many people are actually being quite chill with me. And I think how people mostly see me, at least the ones who reached out, see me as a broken person who needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be elements of that. I think people like Lio are going to be like that. And again, it's you in some ways you have an advantage. You're nowhere near as bad as Cinny Bear is. You haven't done anything on that level, but it's there's a big difference with how people want to kind of engage with you. Again, if we were on stream, might be a very different conversation with an audience, but from either of our sides and how we're thinking. But yeah, and I want to be fair to you, because again, I'm not just here to farm you. I've got no interest in that. I'm just here to, I mean, from my perspective, as I say, I want to make I want to make something that's entertaining for people, but I want to make sure that if there is a next time, there is a solid piece of evidence and solid kind of piece of work that people can go, that's who Jar is in one place, because I think that is
Well,
needed.
I think it is needed because I don't even think I know who I am. Often I don't even recognize my own reflection, as cheesy as that sounds.
Well,
Uh,
I won't tell you to watch the video, but it'll be out hopefully in a few days.
I think it's best. I think it's best if I don't. I think it's best if the only interaction I have on the internet for now is to go onto my alt YouTube account and watch some funny media reviews and just ignore this situation, but so I don't get riled up.
Yeah,
because I won't lie, I've lost sleep and food over this, and I don't want to get so stressed out I break out like it happened once 4 years ago. But I don't want that to happen again. I just want to relax and eventually figure out what people are saying about me. But I think it's best if I don't get myself riled up, because I want to make my apology proper and actually admit to things I've done wrong, and then just quit drama videos because I'm clearly not cut out for it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that's a very sensible approach. Well, look, I'll leave it to it. If you've got anything you want to add or you want to ask me something in the next few days, you've got my DMs. And I do appreciate the call.
All right, thank you.
No worries. Have a good evening.
Actually, I have one question for you. How old are you?
Early 30s.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I just think that any of these calls that involve just a robot, it's never good for him, because it's really just painting the picture that we all needed to see a long time ago for the person that he is, and he tries to justify it and say, oh, it's because of this, and this, and it's like, fam, none of that stuff matters. The autism, the dyslexia, the upbringing of your childhood, your mom, your dad, your siblings, your friends, your whatever, you put yourself in an environment, and I feel like you had to have had so many different signs to tell you, I shouldn't be doing this. You still continued. It led to this Cinnamon stuff. And I feel like that you were making your way down this path and you didn't even realize it, because you were just having so much fun going down this road and stuff, but you didn't realize there was an accident waiting ahead for you and stuff. You get into this accident. Now it's like you gotta like try to piece together everything and continue on down this road, and it's like, nah, bruh, what you need to do is bust a U-turn, go back, backtrack, scrap all that stuff that that led you down to that road, and you need to start fresh. If not that, you got it. I guess stop traveling. Just, although I didn't know how to like word it, but it's like overall the point that I'm trying to make is that no, it's probably best you might just need to quit with the content creating stuff, because it's like, look where it then led you. So it's like it'll probably be in a matter of time for something else leads him into this situation or into another situation, and he's talking about people again getting into dramas and stuff, and then who knows, if it leads to me, it leads to me. If it leads to to somebody else, then it leads to somebody else. My thing is this: it doesn't need to get to that point. So but I'm like, yeah, we know just a robot. We know that most likely he is gonna come back and get back into the drama and stuff. And if he does, then yeah, then that's on him, bro. But anyways, make sure you guys have it. Go subscribe to Mauled, etc. for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.